does line ourselves up as in a fairly good spot. I think, honestly, if you're someone that is interested in seeing this bait project succeed and grow, I mean, this map pool is very solid for them. Even if Nuke is the angle in which Iberian Soul are trying to leverage an advantage early in the series.
I'm actually quite surprised to see Ancient being the decider coming through, but we'll talk about Ancient later on. Beta could be starting things off on the CT side. They have had their struggles with Nuke in the past few months, but I think those are deceptive. Recently, maps been going a little bit more their way than before. Sentinel starts off with information. We'll be backing off immediately.
And an instant drop towards ramp. So with Essential here, he is going to have a lot ahead of him. Kenzizor does find one in the back lines dealing with that lobby lurk, but it's into a 4-on-4 where there's a post plant, but Alex is already pressuring that bomb plant, and they can't get that package down just yet, but they are losing a lot of health here on the side of Bait, as well as members. Kenzizor once again denying that plant, so bomb is dropped on the site, but with Hedrick being so low, Nipple is going to be the one that has to do most of the heavy lifting.
He's going to be very slow out to the party, so the bomb will be planted. The question is, does the planter want to recede back to cover or just stay behind the silo? It's going to be a little bit harder for him now to continue to find anything. A head trick will have to be the distraction. If he can take a head with him, that'd be great, but even if he'd had full HP, that headshot would have made quick work of him. Great round coming up from the T side over here. The Iberian Soul will be starting off strong. Yeah,
a very confident start. Just being able to pressure ramp, take it immediately, and just continue rolling with the punches. It didn't feel like the flow chart was very convoluted, or they didn't deviate from their initial idea too much. And when they find that entry, it should have been there should have been a path to security in getting that bomb plant down. And even with the turbulence, they were still able to go 1-for-1 on any of those duels. So Bait pushed back a little bit, and we'll go for the full save here in the second round. Obviously not uncommon to see teams lose out on that pistol, go into it with the force buy. Nuke, of course, is a map that's very conducive to playing close with these 5.7s, and the solo 5.7 that they bring into the round is immediately dispatched of. Everyone else was clustered ramp, and they are in no position to contest.
Gotta say, man, Zozzle has been having a season in general as far as, we've managed to cover them. And somehow we have actually seen predominantly Iberian Soul games whenever we are casting them. Zozzle has been an impressive part in almost all of them, basically. So it's been exciting to see what could be, just a second coming of form in that regards.
Yeah, by no means a rookie or, a young prospect on the come-up. Zozzle's been around the scene for quite some time, and he hasn't always been as impressive as he is, especially in his sort of aggressive roles. But yeah, I mean, you see the control that he has on his spray. That's 4 kills for Zozzle. Yes, it's against pistols, but just as equally there to sort of prevent damage being done to the rest of the squad. Any last-minute attempt there from Bait. They wanted more out of that, even if they, the Iberian Soul do lose a player to the bomb, an acceptable casualty.
And that spray was real nice. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, no, it looks clean, controlled, and, it's more evidence to the idea that Zozzle is kind of coming into its own on this roster, and I think they definitely need that level of impact. Alex has also had a pretty solid season since returning to Iberian roots. And Mopos has maybe seen a little bit of a dip in his personal performance, so to have an aggressive rifler like Zozzle is helping Iberian Soul a lot.
Third round now in, we are coming through with guns. Now, not everyone is on those guns. Kenzizor and Essential will be with MP9. Surprisingly enough, not buying kits with those, so wouldn't be too surprising to see maybe an earlier stack or concentration of bodies to start moving down lower, but as the bomb and 2 more will be making their way there through Iberian Soul. The B-bomb side is still yet to be occupied. Essential, the only rotator downwards, it is the MP9 that he has to try and defend with.
They're hoping to mount a successful defense. If they lose those initial site players on A or B, then it will be a likely call to save here for Bait. You note that there was a lack of kits purchased up, opting for utility, and as much
time is
solid weaponry
really running down.
Yeah.
Oh my!
It's a very late clear of Garage.
That's a fantastic kill as well for Nipple to be able to find over there. The fact that he takes down one and before he's traded, Head Trick picks up another one, coming in with a late peek from Lockers, and suddenly it's a 4 versus 3. Essential still unknown, and although they might have heard footsteps earlier on, now they've got no idea Admittedly, he does lose Kenzizor elsewhere, and the bomb is rerouting back up to the upper bomb site, where Alex is trying to put up a show. That show has come to a close. Curtains are called, and Head Trick will fall. Late round plant, but it won't matter. The bomb is still put down.
You see just the massive advantage that they're able to leverage just off the fact that Essential is down that lower site. He hears all the progress being made towards double doors. They hear the rotate through the vents, and all this information is kind of confusing Bait. You know, it's so late in the round for them to be just sort of expressing sound cues on that lower side of the map, and then it's the immediate reroute. And oh my goodness, even for Essential trying to get away with that M4, just deleted by Alex before he's allowed to make that retreat. This is looking really solid for Iberian Soul. Just fast outside control off the first gun round. You're not going to have as many Molotovs or incendiaries as you'd like on that CT side. You don't always have the HEs as well to blow open those smokes. If you're not getting someone down towards secret steps and actually cutting them off at I guess the secret crossroads between double and single door, it can be incredibly trying to prevent a lower side attack, and I think Iberian Soul recognized that, slowed down, and Bait ultimately were in very static positions.
Coming through the half by now on Bait. Hedrick's going to have to pop off with a deagle, but he's missed out his chance on a head. Davi G will not recontest. Double drop has been heard. They know that Sosol is there as well, or at least they know someone is there with Davi G.
Oh dear.
Sosol has still managed to creep forward, though. This is dangerous.
Yeah, this is a very complicated position. You can see Essential is kind of thinking about it, but I don't know if he was looking down at the ladder just to get his footing right, or looking for Sosol, but he found bullets. And Sododo has found another kill outside. They wait for this aggression from Bait on the low buy, and it nets them 3 kills. Even the Mopo's entry out towards A, that's just secured them a path to get this bomb down. Headtrick has effectively nothing to say.
And despite the fact that there was good damage dealt in the first gun round as well, Bait can't follow up now. That means that Stododo and company will be able to just bring up the money as much as they need. Look at where they're going to be after this round. Probably an average of about 5,000 to 8,000 already. Bait are not in the greatest of positions. They will have an op in the next round should Headtrick want to try and make a play with it. But even in these anti-eco rounds, there's one thing for certain. It feels like Iberian Soul are looking sharp all across.
Absolutely, especially Alex and Sosol. I mean, just looked very clean in their aim. You know, we're not really always expecting in-game leaders to be able to pop off or have good aim and quick taps, but Alex has been delivering on that front since rejoining with some local Spaniards and a Portugueseman.
A Portugueseman.
Yeah, well, that's what we're calling that now.
Well, where one Alex shines, the other one shies away from the spotlight. 0 and 4 for Alex Itch. It is not the best look. 6 ADR doesn't really add any more confidence.
Wait, did you call him Alex Itch?
Alex 666?
Oh. Yeah? What?
Wait, how do you pronounce that?
I mean, I would just say Alex 666 or...
Oh. I've been saying it wrong the whole time.
Oh, I could be saying it wrong. That's why I was asking you about it. I was very curious.
Well, right now, David G's curiosity is sated, but only to be traded away. Sosol continues his reign of terror outside. 8 and 1, and Headtrick is on the hunt, or maybe he's on the hide. I don't know which of the two it's going to be, but either way, you really don't want to be going up against Sosol right now.
He's so scared about getting wrapped from credit or someone trying to route towards the front side of garage. So his information lines are actually very muddied. It's all about confidence and whether or not he's able to find a timing, because it's a bit of a game of chicken between him and Sosol outside.
And Essential's even been called to try and reinforce this, which, when you look over towards what the T side is doing, there are 3 players coming down ramp all in the meanwhile. Essential's rotation to try and help Headtrick. Sosol is giving them this round and more kills with it. This is just a tragedy. Kenzizor and Alex 666 are also just in terrible position to do anything about this. You have to save in this round.
Yeah, and it's perfectly played from Sosol. He understood that Headtrick was inside garage. He never overstepped, didn't overface, but kept him contained. You know, he understood he couldn't route back to CT. He couldn't have escaped to heaven. And even with the support that was coming out from Bait, they just lose all first defenders on that lower side just because they're busy trying to address a very early problem that Iberian Soul presented to them. So, once again, just feels like they're one step ahead. They're moving that little bit faster. Bait are constantly reacting and trying to help each other out, but it's compromising other areas of the map that Iberian Soul are exploiting. It's really solid stuff, and you know, if this is the type of calling we get, the type of shooting that we get out of players like Sosol as well for this series, you know, we're trying to, I think, correctly describe Bait as one of these teams, I guess, on the rise and maybe on the cusp of breaking out and having, you know, direct invitations to bigger events. You know, the roster moves that they've made, sure, they've maybe lost some of the original character of this Bait brand, but they've brought in some good shooters. But then they're looking completely outmaneuvered, and it's going to put a lot more pressure on Nipple as the in-game leader, and honestly one of the star fraggers on this team, to really step up with either some great calls or some heavy hitting himself.
It's now or never for Bait. 0-5 right now. You better start fragging soon, and it's not going to be with the AWP of Headtrick on your side. Well, you called him to question, and those questions will not be answered. Alex will somehow exchange headshots coming out of the smoke. Fantastic kill to find, and immediately reroutes backwards as well. Headtrick will not be given an easy victim. Instead, he might be given a very difficult duel. daviG around the corner with the glass already broken. He can go forward, and Headtrick has realized his mistake in the afterlife.
They're just not accounting for possibilities. They're completely bamboozled by some of these fast timings that Iberian Soul are taking. And look at this timing Alex has hit.
Well, maybe Alex isn't the one to be worrying about. It's going to be Alex who takes him down. It's Alex side. Still, 2 versus 2 with plenty of time left, but the problem is flanks on flanks, and daviG's adjustment is not quite fast enough. The grenade is not going to be catching out Mopos. It is essential to do so instead. Kenzie's push really changing the way this round looks.
Yeah, I mean, from what is an effective start from Iberian Soul, suddenly the timings that they think are advantageous are fully turned around by the fact that KenzieZor has gotten these 2 kills inside of Hut. It draws Alex up the vent. I think he wanted to run some reconnaissance on that lower side of the map, but with Bait getting aggressive and coming away with a multi-kill that maybe they shouldn't, you know, to get that double kill so quickly, Bait would have had to been, I mean, Iberian Soul rather would have had to be playing, yeah, they would have had to have been playing quite shoulder to shoulder, and them being unable to trade that kill just immediately broke the finishing move that Iberian Soul wanted to go for.
Well, they're not out of deep waters yet, but at least they've been tossed a couple of floaties. I don't know how helpful those are when there's a shipwreck, but hey, maybe this may be essential. Trying to find his footing as he has gotten a bit more aggressive. Headtrick to give him some backup from behind with the AWP, but he's turned away, and that means Essentials on an island. And those floaties won't be helping him over here. Headtrick will at the very least avenge him. Moves back, and you can already see Iberian Soul have sacrificed most of their utility predominantly to put daviG in position in the secret stairs. He needs to make a play, but KenzieZor instead is the one to try and do just that. He loses his life, but Alex, the IGL, will be hitting the deck. daviG finds the trade elsewhere. Down below they go. Sosol left behind. Can he hunt down the rotations? Alex 666 is going to be another victim for daviG. All of those resources really coming into play.
God, this was a cool round. They did an A fake on the top side. It pulled Headtrick away, and then they route back. What was the problem last round? KenzieZor aggroing into Hut. They account for him. They deal with that push. And then daviG still has this lurk down the secret steps. It catches Headtrick, who tried to rotate from the lower side back up with that AWP. And, you know, this round took 3 differing routes from plan to plan to plan. And with every kill, they rerouted again. So this was very much a flow, I guess a very active flow plan from the T side, but they were doing a great job of manipulating the rotations. Bait were constantly trying to play catch up and get into position, only to get shot in the side or the back, or being held for by another member of the Iberian Soul.
It is pretty nice to see as well the fact that these veterans on Nuke are able to do what you'd hope that a team of veterans can, right? If you're using so much utility early on just to buy some space and create the chaos and give you those extra flow charts that you're talking about, and then they do so perfectly. Now, Bait is going for a very strange buy to me. I was sure that they'd want to buy around Hetrick over here in this situation, but maybe they can still make something work with this. It does feel like you're putting yourself into a very fast-saving situation if Hetrick can't find any kills, but maybe that's for the best, given the state of their money.
This is going to be one of the problems as well with losing so much control early, is that further into the half you get, where you're thinking, oh, maybe we should be more active, or we should try and push on our terms. You can see how Iberian Soul are slowing the roll in a number of these rounds. They're expecting that change to happen. If you don't start with an early precedent, you always feel as though your next move maybe just a round too late. And right now, Bait, you see how they're trying to account for all these pushes. They understand the timings. And it's even Stododo on the entry with a rifle that will break into this top site. Just a little bit of ramp pressure. Once again, same counter reaction there from Bait. So let's see if they can get access to lobby, some kind of way to contain the T's, and they just get picked apart.
We've really been getting a lot of the same from Kensizor as well. That's the third or fourth time we've seen him try and push out of HUD. Unfortunately, Bait on their CT side hasn't really shown us the same flair that the Iberian side has on their T. Now, admittedly, it's harder to do that on CT, don't get me wrong, but yeah.
With everybody kind of starting a little slow, the only multi-kill we've really seen, I guess, has come from, Essential in one round, Kensizor in another. It's hard to have confidence that your teammates are going to pull their weight. And so, even with all the poking and probing that Iberian Soul are doing, you can see everybody is reacting, thinking, oh, I need to back up this position. We're not likely to hold it. But I think they could serve to benefit from being almost a little bit more static and have a bit more faith that everybody's going to do their job. The problem is they're just ceding so much control so quickly. Minor pressure ramp, they lose control of ramp completely. The protocol is to fall back into the lower site, which is not completely unusual, but what we see teams doing more and more now is that if that does happen and someone rotates down to B, someone else will join them on that B bomb site and they'll re-aggress into ramp if there's no continual pressure. They're losing outside control very rapidly as well. It feels as though the map is kind of the Iberian Soul's oyster to a certain degree because they're getting so much success in opening kills, but even just the basic map control, if they're not finding fights, they're finding a lot of territory.
In goes Mobos right to the side. Alex 666 is going to be caught off, but instead managed to fight back. 2 big kills, but he's cornered in. Stododo will trade. Meanwhile, Nipple's rotation has been cut down and Essential needed. A Molotov to his feet means he's been pushed away, but no, instead it's gone down below. A no scope from Hetrick elsewhere, leaves Saucel alone. There's still a lot to do over here, and listen, with the flashbang, maybe you can hope to try and push someone away, but Hetrick can just dodge that one out and be A-okay. Time aplenty, though. And with the bomb in a recoverable position, I do believe. Wait, where is the bomb?
It actually might be in the vent. Not fully confident on that, but...
Well, it seems like that might be the case, but we'll never know. Essential finds Saucel, puts him down, and there you have it.
Yeah, given the way that Bait were not concerned about getting flanked and all the possibilities, Hetrick was, I think, just sitting on top of that bomb. That was... the reroute plan. They knew that the Heaven player had gotten out, and even that maybe that Molotov had missed. But by the time they'd done that, Hetrick was already there to greet them on the drop. But it starts out with, Iberian Soul deviating from their already successful plan on this T side, where they have been poking and probing. This time they just try to run in that top side through a smoke on an odd timing. And they lose 2 players on the entry, so...
they're just going to rejig it over here, though. Look at this. Mopos has got himself that Mac 10. A flashbang in, and straight they go. Mopos to his death. And he's not got any backup to try and trade this time. Kensizor will also find 2. And it's all falling apart. Iberian Soul, all that fancy footwork on outside has come to a close, and quick A-rushes are really betraying them.
Trying to remain unpredictable, but... a 2-on-4 now, where Bait have kits available, they have healthier members. Davy G, I mean, just doesn't account for the door, and Nipple comes away with 2 kills as that retake just gets started. All the bait members were getting into position, and it's the in-game leader that's able to sweep up the rest. So, a 3rd round here for bait, and yeah, the deviation from that plan for Iberian Soul, you know, they're trying something. They are trying to be a little bit of an oddball. You know, all the poke probing, suddenly topside hits. It can work, and it could catch bait off guard, but it definitely has not been fruitful thus far. Even still, 7 rounds on this T side will already feel like a fairly solid campaign, and so maybe you can let your hair down a little. Losing 2 back-to-back rounds, though, might get the hair tie back out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen Iberian Soul have too many good first halves into just tragedies of seconds on different maps. Mostly on train, I will be honest, but it does feel like sometimes this is a single half team for me. Hopefully not over here on Nuke, though. Obviously, you'd expect the form to carry into the CT side very effectively.
Yeah, they would hope that they can be this consistent throughout the entire series. I think most teams do hope that they can be. No point being one-map wonders. Or one-half wonders if it's as bad as that. So, after the timeout, Alex seems to have reeled back the troops. Guys, we had our fun. We tried to hit topside and just get this game, or this half over with.
Look at what Headtrick is up to. He's so defensive right now because he's worried about that outside lurk that Iberian Soul have consistently managed to get into stairs whenever they've wanted to, but he's so far back. There's no sign of aggression at all. And by the time he comes into it, NIPL is going to be taking a little bit of a clash. It doesn't go quite his way. Sawsol will continue forward as well. Contact made. Is Sentinel not ready for the second, and Sawsol continues to be the hidden Viper. 4-on-3 now as the state of the game is reset, and Sodoto's found Headtrick. Alex 666 is the next casualty, and Kenzie Zord, they know where he's playing. He's been on the A side continually, and with information now confirmed, you can try and triangulate him down if they'd like.
Yeah, well, it's back to more winning ways after the slower outside control. Again, this poke and probing style. Of course, you know, you have just sparked my memory, and of course, that's something that we can't, I guess, we can't not bring up, is the fact that, you know, Alex on the Iberian Soul side and Headtrick, teammates at one point or another under NIP.
Yes.
So, for both of them having that step away from, I guess, more of a domestic scene, or, you know, their... And getting an opportunity to go international, it has brought them back to their domestic scenes respectively. Some more by force, but everybody is always talking about how NIP, their time, your time on their account is...
Michael, outside, sorry, but there's a fight about to happen. A 2-on-2 in secret, and Essentials come out on top of that one. There's still one more to potentially clash in, but the problem is that's Tododo with the bomb and an AWP. So he somehow still gets the kill. Okay. And this round might be one that is bloodless on the camera, but it will be lots of blood spilled from the Iberian Soul side. 1-on-2 now as Mopos continues to try and recover the bomb far away from him. His foraying forward will be found. 4 on the board for bait with a successful double push. We're going to have to find out whether they can find more success after a quick break.
Why I'm living this life. Look at all the late nights. It'll all come in due time, yeah. Made for the fight, for the pain and the climb. Tied to the life I chose. Stay through the night, another day, not a dime. Race against time. I couldn't just lay by and wonder what I could have made mine. I'm closing on the moment, no one's gonna hold me down.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door, I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home, a couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road.
Who am I to
8-4 at the turn of the half, and Iberian Soul will be hoping to close out the way they started. Looking good.
Yeah, looking very impressive. They had Bait eating out of the palm of their hand, and Bait didn't even know it at the time. They are the ones that took the bait in the first half. Let's see if they can set up their own traps here on this T side. There's potential for a little bit of IBS drama.
Why do you do this to me every single time, man? The double dualies in IBS's hands means they cannot be stopped. Nipple managed to creep through, reminding us that funny names are not only on one side. Alex 666, though, no humor in his eyes as Mopos' head has been knocked out. And when that little lights up, Bunchu will be retreating backwards to try and throw a flashbang for a teammate instead. He's got the utility to be able to get onto the bomb site. Let's not forget that smoke and a kit as well. But he still needs his teammates to start to commit. Sosol and Stododo are the ones that are being waited for right now. As Sentinel turns back, Alex finds one. Nipple has traded away elsewhere, but it all now comes down into Sosol's hands. He's picked up one, spots out the second at the back of the bomb site. Remember, Mopo, Smoke, and Kid, that will be important, but it's now dropped down and it's dropped out. Bait with 5.
I mean, that's a fantastic round there from Nipple. Not only getting kills on the entry, then playing anti-flash, able to trade his teammates out, still hold onto that site control as well. And very little that the Iberian Soul could do to get back into the swing of things. They didn't really have the manpower inside of Heaven to fully make use of that flash. You know, just the one player in Soul, I mean, that feels like it can be enough, but with everybody being so spread, they wanted that flash to be ultra effective. And, well, Nipple was just able to deal with it all, so... Good way to jumpstart their second half by winning that pistol round. Smoke outside's not perfect, and Davi G does punish that immediately. That gap, just enough of a glimpse of Essential's head.
I don't even know if he can believe the shot he just hit.
Well, he hit it. Seeing is believing.
Just to make sure. And he sees a couple of more players. He believes in his teammate to start swinging in with him. Nice deep nade, but Stododo didn't even need it. A shot straight through the Lonely Box's edge. And as he's trying to recede backwards, Soso will be there coming in from behind the long-range MP9. And Alex 666 is going to try and save the day. But my goodness, that day is long. That bomb is outside and he's already sweating. Worried about what is up top, but doesn't know about what comes from below. Alex rotating in from secret stairs while Soso continues to make noise on Marshmallow.
Willing to make those steps because Alex is coming up the secret steps all around the same time. An instant dink. Alex knows that he's completely boxed in, and it will be these long-ranged MP9s that really strike fear into the hearts of Bait. That shot from Stododo did make a world of a difference, but it's entries on the Deeg, on the Scouts, all this extra damage. Bait try to take outside like Iberian Soul did on that T side, and they get punished. The missed first smoke is... inexcusable. I don't know if there was body blocks that happened, but it's a simple smoke.
They also didn't throw the full wall.
Yeah.
When they're trying to cross either, so... yeah.
That's the power of the second round 4. Something that Bait themselves did not opt for on the defense.
Well, they don't really have much of an option but to go into force over here. It is likely to be a 5-10 unless Bait manage to swing it out back in their favor with these Tech 9s. Not the easiest thing to do when you have 5 rifles against you as well. Let's not forget about that. A lot easier to afford those when 2 of them have been gifted to you. Oh, who knew? Round's been slowed down quite a bit. There's no need for Iberian Soul to start getting aggressive. Soul still trying to play control out and wrap. There's that one flashbang that's not even needed. Head trick pulls out the Deagle, and the Sentinel will still have 2 more targets to try and take. Alex doesn't want to face in too heavily, does not want to overcommit with these rifles. It all comes down to Mopos. That stolen Galil will realize very quickly this isn't going to be a full commitment down ramp, at least not yet.
Oh my god.
Kenzizor's trying to get himself into position to flash, but as a result of doing so, Mopos will find solace. That decon door, though, might be a little bit fickle. Davi G in front as well. The double up peek through, flashbang forward to try and guarantee the bomb plant, but Davi G will be equalizing. Stododo is stuck inspecting a weapon that clears out vision rather than angles. Essential will be able to take him down, and Alex, well, he doesn't know how close he was to taking away another one of these weakened players. Nipple will do just that with the scout, and suddenly Iberian Soul, well, they're right back to where they started, having lost the pistols.
Yeah, you know, there was a point I wanted to jump into if Bait did lose this round, but some lovely shooting, and once again, it's pretty linear pathing after they get that opening kill at ramp. They just see it as clear access to that lower side, but Mopo's got out to the actual bomb site, and then I guess second guessed his position. He wanted to reroute, link up with Davi G and try and play like a high-low double peek in at the decon door, but he just took so much damage for trying to cross as late as that. He saw a couple opportunities maybe, but once they saw that he was trying to fight out in the open, Bait just called for everybody to swing simultaneously to punish that behavior, and you know, they didn't come away with the kill, but they did the next best thing and make it so that Mopo's basically couldn't ever swing without expecting himself to get traded. It's a bit of indecision there from Iberian Soul in terms of the way they wanted to rotate and how they wanted to play it. That lack of decisiveness, it's what got Stododo killed when they went to the second round force. But as you would expect, you win a force buy round, you lose to one. How could you not force buy back, especially when you saved a couple weapons in that previous round?
Those weapons might be what make a difference for here. Alex, that AK-47 looking quite threatening, especially the smokes will be going out. What is going on with Bait's utility? They missed the Molotov earlier on as well in this round. The smokes finishing up while they've got 3 players out of the open crossing, maybe expecting advantages, but none to be found. A 4-on-3 now for Iberian Soul on the B bomb site, where the bomb was trying to flirt with already occupied by Davi G. Now that flirtation has ended. It wasn't a serious relationship. That really sucks to see, but Stododo, who's out hunting for love, will instead get a fight and a half. Oh, how do they not know what's going on over here? Mopo's completely unaware, and suddenly this A site is only defended by a man on a ladder and one with a deagle.
I would like to delete this round from my memory. What? I don't understand what the plan is here. Fighting outside, Alex, the in-game leader of Iberian Soul, did just out-aim 2 players. You know, took a vacuum duel. You know, he's tapping at long range, as you probably should, and headshots too. And then this aggression, you know, very good from Alex 666 to check the ramp timing at the time that he did. But yeah, the miscommunication, Mopo's just kind of blissfully unaware, expecting maybe a secondary player that was never there. He's out shadowboxing and then got punched in the jaw. And now they're busy looking at each other while the outside dry cross from Bait is happening. But they're expecting an Iberian Soul full save after the force buy wars. And so, making use of the better weaponry, they brute force it, and they will find success. Now, the point I wanted to finish up before was that, yes, Alex, Iberian Soul Alex, in-game leader, and Headtrick were teammates once before in NIP, both of them going back to their domestic scenes and looking to redeem themselves. Neither showed a very great level. You know, I don't think Alex called the way that he wanted to, or the team didn't produce the tactical prowess that I think people have attributed to his name. And also Headtrick, in his personal performance, from rifling to AWPing, did not show the best performance, you know. And there's someone that is, I guess, the best example of someone that's had that opportunity and has been running with it and has shown growth in Nipple, now being a caller as well as a fragger after he got a very brief stint in Na'Vi and was kind of thrown aside because he did not perform up to task. Maybe he was thrown into the Tier 1 circuit too soon. These guys are hoping to rebound their careers much the same as somebody that's already in the server, showing that he can produce a higher level than what was shown on the big stages.
If that was your attempt at erasing that last round, it's not going to work. I still have it here in my memory.
But listen, there's been a lot of interesting Counter-Strike that's been played in the past couple of days. And, well, I just think the start of the year, you know, not everybody is as well-rehearsed as maybe you would like, given the vying for VRS points.
Well, right now, it is a turning point for both teams. It is maybe more so for the Iberian Soul side, but for Bait, this is going to be potentially equalization, and maybe even going beyond that. Iberian Soul needs to make something happen, and as Nipple is going to be trying to contend with Stododo on the other side, this is not going to be the worst duel to take. Stododo has not been the most involved player on the Spanish team. Portugueseman that he is.
Yep. That's
Would love
what
to
we
have
call
a
them.
flashbang, but Nipple is not going to be blinded out at all. Sododo gets good information and will be backing off. He's actually the only person with a flashbang remaining on his entire team. Just notice that.
It's a great
Juicy nade. That is fantastic. That's going to make things so much easier for Sosol, unless he gets blinded up over here. Needs to dodge this one, will be able to do so, and he is out of there, runs away and gives plenty of sound, but he moves back to reface in case there's going to be peaks one by one. Sosol is ready to take the duels. Good for the first and backs off. Perfectly played. And with 40 seconds, Bait are in a crunch. There's 2 players down below, and they know it as well. Sododo had revealed his position earlier on, and Sosol has a million angles to retreat into, but none of them will provide solace against Essential. He instead falls to Sododo's late peak, and with 20 seconds are hoping for a commitment to the bomb that will never come. It's nowhere nearby. A Molotov that is extinguished by their own smoke, and CT's getting ready to push through and deny the plant. This round is over. Iberian Soul keep 3 alive.
Yeah, perfect containment and a team ace all to top it. You could see just the willingness to fight there from Sosol. There's so many different ways you can play ramp as an anchor, but especially when you're sort of an active fragging piece for a squad, it's very much a great idea to try and take that fight while, still maintaining position. For them, it was constantly get a kill, see how much information you can gather, fall back into a setup, and slowly but surely Bait were lured into that B bomb site, and there was just another player waiting for them that they were not prepared for. They did not approach that with the appropriate amount of pace. They could not find a clean entry, and if in the absence of getting kills, you have to be able to secure map control and some kind of pathway to a bomb site. But when you just constantly have these CTs receding into safer positions and I guess more tradable spots as well off of each other, it becomes harder and harder in a certain sense. So yeah, Bait try and play a slower round, but with these slower rounds, when we think about that first half, it was all Iberian Soul that were coming away with advantages, and that maybe is still the case in the second.
How has Nipple taken that much damage already?
You might be asking similar questions. Seem to probably be spammed.
Who? Alex has all the bullets in his gun. He's not the one who did it. I think it was team damage.
If you get team damage to 15 HP, I don't... that's not a simple mistake.
Well, I'm out of here,
Sorry,
buddy.
is anybody home? Oh, yep, sorry, my fault. I'll leave.
Trying to play ding dong ditch with someone who has a German Shepherd. Unleashed. Still, round has slowed down massively. We are out of smokes for the T side. It is going to be an interesting position to be in. Sododo is holding on to that grenade. If Nipple starts to move forward and is even clipped by that, that could be a fatality found there and then. There are going to be no exchanges. 30 seconds, and with Iberian Soul having this much control over lobby, Sosol is just playing further back. This is going to be the perfect call from Bait. Or is it? Alex catches them out on their come up through mini. Great damage being dealt, and everyone is so low on the Bait side, but they've yet to die. Headtrick will be first to fall into the grave, but Dabby G, unexpected, shaky on the spray. Sosol trying to proceed up again, trying to go peekaboo all over the place, but 8 seconds on the clock. Bait, can they win this round? The bomb's going to be planted. There's no grenades to get easy frags with. And Kenzie's got the jump on them. They've even got the 2 versus 1 wide swings planned. Now Sododo catches a hip. And Nipple backing off is going to be leaving the bomb in a completely enclosed space. Sododo will have the diffusing advantage, and he knows it as well. Starts tapping on and sticking it out. Waits for the peak, and it'll be Nipple to take his head off. What?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have known Nipple was low. I wasn't sure how Sododo was going to play that, but he taps it, and he's not ready for Nipple to be so proactive in that spot. He's expecting, full HP. He might start running at him, trying to win the duel, but Nipple's ahead of the play. As soon as that tap is coming out, he immediately starts moving. If you're in that 1v1 and you're expecting your opponent to be full health, give yourself the best fair fight at a duel, wide swinging into the fight actually could serve to benefit you, but Nipple knew he didn't have that advantage, and so just tried to call Stododo's bluff, and I mean, he was there much faster. Had Stododo stuck, or had Stododo tapped immediately and hard swung into the hut, he probably would have caught Nipple. Would have been a 1 round, but he's not working with the full picture. And, I mean, Nipple also does not miss shots like that.
That's true.
I will say as well, this is something that we would have noted, but have not brought up yet. Nipple has added an I to his name. It's not.
It has made me say NIPL quite a few times.
Yeah, it's not just NPL anymore, where it's like, oh well, do they call you NPL? Do they call you Nipple? He's on record saying that he prefers people to call him Nipple because he thinks it's funny, which is honestly, if that's what he wants, I
will make that sacrifice.
Yeah, listen, I'm happy to
die on Nipple's sword.
fight for an honorable cause.
Yes, against the collective might of IBS.
But also he's added that extra letter, so it just makes it easier to say. So, I guess shout out Nipple.
Indeed.
He's the change he wants to see.
I agree. He's the change we all want to see.
Well, it's certainly been a nice change of tune into the second half, though. Wasn't sure if Bait were going to provide much of that oomph, that stopping power, but, suddenly a clutch, and they're going to be tied up here at 10-10 a pop.
And listen, it wasn't all smooth sailing to get here, but the destination is what matters, not the journey.
Yeah, it's, I still think Bait have been the not as clean side, if we're being completely honest. Missed utility, some questionable choices in terms of the fights they've taken. Iberian Soul definitely have, I think, better protocols and a better idea of what they want to do on the map, but that doesn't always win you rounds. It'll only get you halfway there.
One of the things we haven't really seen come into play from either side on the CT side is really an AWP doing well. Stododo will be able to afford into another one over here, and it could be one of the last of this game for him, depending on how things go. And that's where the tactical timeout has been used earlier on as well. This could be the round that decides the map, if we're being honest.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at 12 for Bait if Iberian Soul concede here. There's a bit more, I guess, reserve cash for Bait if that's a full back on if they seed a round. So it'd be much more up for debate. I think if we're going to see Iberian succeed, there could be an 11-11 scoreline. Who's to say? But if Iberian Soul are able to pull up their socks here and now and win 2 back-to-back consecutive rounds, that last buy for Bait will effectively have nothing. Alex has been shot in the back of the head by a Glock at the start of this round while trying to break the windows.
Bro, why? I'm telling you, man, these guys. First it was Nipple. No, to be fair, Nipple might have been double-mated. And we didn't catch it. But hey. Blood sacrifice has to be made one way or another.
Oh my... What are we...
Alex, what's going on over here, buddy? Is Sentinel still going to fall because they can't believe what's going on? It's still going to be a 2-for-2 somehow. The CTs have managed to make this look like a possible, maybe even a better situation for them.
Yeah, the fact that Bait took so much damage to that HE, even if Alex is out in the middle of the open, hoping that smoke served as a wall. 3-on-3 when these Bait members are low, and with all the presence they made towards ramp, they didn't have someone lurking outside, they didn't have smokes thrown towards outer that can threaten a secret wrap. It's not something that Iberian Soul are too conscious of. They still have someone committed to that lower side. And they're still very much cognizant of the fact that outside could have been permeated.
They're terrified. They are absolutely terrified. But the resmoke from Stododo is going to be incredibly helpful over here. Mopos will be able to try and keep a hold of things for much longer, while Davy G starts to move forward and clear. The problem is that ramp is going to be re-aggress on to try and go lower, and that's what, in fact, Iberian Soul are relying on.
Yeah, they've got 2 towards lower. This is 20 seconds. We're still not down the ramp. We have a smoke, a Molotov. One of those Molotovs is used by Nipple just to draw attention away, and it's worked wonders. He's sailed down that vent, but there's still Davy here that could deny the plant. If they don't smoke off his angle, he could deny that bomb, but he doesn't actually clear out the main side of the smoke. He doesn't realize where it's being planted for. 1-on-2 now for Sododo. He has a kit.
And in he goes. Both players taking fantastic angles. This seems like it's going to be impossible for him. Unless Hetrick makes a mistake and steps overhead, this is going to be a tough time. But Hetrick's not looking the right way. He's really relying on this last to be broken, and well, he's done rightfully so. That smoke Molotov up to the upper site was already bad enough, but the fact that Nipple gets the drop-down flying kill on ladder, that's insult to injury.
Yeah, and part of that is the fact that they had, I think, Stododo with that AWP commit to that upper side while his two teammates were down lower. If not for that, you know, the fake may not have been as effective as they wanted to. Him dropping as well meant that he, I guess, couldn't stop Nipple from traversing to those vents. So many angles to cover. But ultimately a great late round call there for Bait. It looked like it wasn't gonna really amount to anything, but Nipple just running that small amount of interference just completely dislodged the very good B-side setup Iberian Soul had.
Well, it does feel like they're getting incredibly shaky over here, and if they don't come through with the 5-7 win over here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to really put my faith in them on that last gun round. I'll at least get some good damage or something of the sort. I know it's insignificant, but it does feel like as their game has progressed into the second half and Sosol is no longer quite the same sort of one-man army that he was in the earlier portions of the game, Iberian Soul have lost out a lot of that, you know, confident mojo across the players who are all making their own decisions, who are all getting the right reads, getting good timings on when to start making a move and everything. It really hasn't been the best of transitions. Well, okay. David G, good for once. Sudono's done the same. Suddenly, chaos on the upper bomb side, and AK recovered, and there's a crossfire established over here as well. Essential's scared, and he has good reason to be, but he's still going to be finding one for free that he can't take advantage of. Nipple called in to finish the job. And as the bomb is being tapped, Alex wants to push through the smoke. The slow push is going to find one, and Sosol now given a chance to once again be a hero, and a hero he will be, but he can't deny the bomb's going to be planted still inside the smoke, can't trace it away, he goes down, and now he's inside it himself. AK recovered, flash and play, takes the duel, takes the win. That's that 5-7 round they needed.
Yeah, and they just try to run into that top side as a smoke is blooming. I mean, this started off as a 4-on-2 advantage here for the Iberian Soul after that failed initial burst on the top side, and they almost throw it away. You know, there's a smoke down door, they just got double cleared top side hut, and Daviji's trying to ascend up Tetris while that smoke is still up. That is a bit of a crazy risk. You know, he could have sat towards CT vent, tried to cover the hut exit. He could have still held door from main or tried to even slide into the vents. There was actually a number of different routes he could have taken. He gave himself the one vulnerable reroute that was almost a means to access that top side and the clutch. But yeah, very important for Iberian Soul. They didn't let that one slip between their fingertips. They had recovered weapons. They had good position. They had a numbers advantage. And still Nipple almost carved a way out for them.
Can't win every clutch on the upper bomb side.
No. He was ultimately not the one in the clutch, but, you know, he gave his team, or he gave Essential a really solid shot at it.
Yeah. And now for Bait. You start to sweat. 11 aside, fighting for game point on their enemy's map pick. Bait will be losing the first member early. Their IGL hits the deck, and Alex on the other side is not going to be able to find anyone actually crossing through with the help of that grenade. It is Stododo to take down Hetrick once again while the smoke is fading. They take the risk of being witnessed outside, but when the man keeping an eye on you has also got a scope, it's never an easy situation to be in.
Yeah, I mean, a terrible way to start. Mopo's got his kill on the ladder in the side of the vent, just as Bait were trying to slide a player down it, and Stododo getting this pick while the smokes are fading. They're going to feel a little trapped. Wow, that's a great shot for Stododo to have hit. And Nipple really wanted to force that duel, and it goes from bad to worse here for Bait.
Well, when you were hoping to put an half-mile almost eco behind you, this is not the way you wanted to do it.
Yeah, they're saving.
They have no other choice.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the decision. It's just, it will always feel terrible to do, and, you know, you've got 45, 50 seconds of a round to play out. 2-on-5, maybe you could capitalize on a mistake, but to be honest, Iberian Soul have not made many outrageous ones. You know, there's been small, minor decisions made, been some nice shots, some nice bursts, a couple of cute ideas as well thrown by Bait, all amidst it. But if they really wanted to capitalize on overextensions, this was not to be the case. Just catching a gun here at the end would be devastating. Essential has no money whatsoever. I mean, a smoke or a P250. He has the option between the two. $300 is all he's got. That's rough.
This is dire circumstances for Bait. Essential has to be someone traded away and quick. Feels like their options are pretty limited. You'd expect a ramp hit, you'd expect an upper side hit, or nothing else with it. NIPL, Mr. Nipple himself, already down to 68. The grenades going deep are not going to be helping anyone. Look at the damage on those. Soso looks to block them off. He knows they're likely ports of call. When money is looking as poor as it is, Stododo would be the prime victim, especially if he starts to miss out shots. He starts to ascend back up to the heavens, look to save himself with Alex to try and cover things off, but instead he's going to be found out as well. It's all falling apart. There are guns to be recovered, an AWP to be picked up, and a 5v3 to still be played with no one really on this upper bomb side, especially with Mopos eliminated quickly with the MAC-10. Bait are having their best round yet on the T side. Not a single casualty thus far. Davy G will be facing down 2 in heaven, and he can't even get the first. Essential's P250 has paid for itself and more. 12-12 overtime is somehow here.
How is this the round that this happens? The value nade from Soulsoul, the information, they know that they're not down B, they know they have access to ramp. Stododo... And to be fair, you know, some nice shooting from Kenzizor to punish that lonely box peak. The chase down, they knew Stododo had to be up inside of heaven, that he had to have routed that way because they would have seen him either in spawn or trying to go to garage or credit or something. They pieced it all together, but, you know, for all the good protocols, for all the good choices that Iberian Soul have done on their rotations, this was the one round that they could not afford to have a blunder, and they make a big one in these some missed shots. Don't know if Stododo had utility as well. He probably did. You know, there were ways they could have mitigated that, but Bait have been given a lifeline to come back into this game. They trailed 4-8 coming out of their own CT side, and they've been able to pull together clutches, but also some rounds that defy odds. Already some good damage being done to the Bait side at the start of the overtime. But they've got good control outside. Kenzizor 1-for-1. Mopo's pushing his way into door, and so has a lot of information inside of lobby.
Great place to be in right now. It helps you really concentrate resources out to the lower bombs that are outside, depending on how you want to try and play this one. Soulsoul early incendiary to try and ascend forward. He's using that to scale up closer to the secret stairs while still displaying presence. But Stododo's also been called over, so they're really concentrating members here, and for good reason. The remaining players from Bait are all trying to go downstairs, and they will be meeting in with a very deadly crossfire. The only problem is Stododo's op isn't the best at holding a crossfire like this unless you hit that first shot, and with every single bit of guidance, he still manages to miss that one. Unfortunately, Soulsoul will only be good for one. Stododo will be given more chances to remedy that earlier mistake, and he will be able to do so Fantastic shot on the early swing. Head trick making noise while the bomb is being planted. Alex 666 will get it down. And then the 2 versus 3. It really comes down to that push from Davy G coming out from the vent situation. Head trick still trying to defend. Will not be able to see. It's not a perfect round for him. Another kill found, but the defuse is already transpired. Head trick, it's a highlight, sure, but it doesn't add any value.
Yeah, it just wasn't planted in a position for him. That is such a shame. He also couldn't chase down Stododo, who had put himself in a very compromising spot in it dark on that lower side. With Hedrick having an AWP, trying to chase that kill would have, you know, it's pretty 50-50. Stododo has the knowledge that they'll want to try and flush him out. So they rushed the plant, and without his teammate being able to get any kills, Hedrick just needed that little bit of assistance, considering it wasn't planned for him. It's a very active move for Alex outside. Yeah. But Nipple seems very convinced that there's somebody up close. Oh, Alex starts shooting. He starts spraying, but he still comes away with the kill. Kenzizor, the spray transfer, found Davy G at distance and is able to adjust up close. It's a triple for Kenzizor, who's been absent and not really someone we've highlighted for most of this regulation. But in the OT, a triple kill is worth its weight in gold.
From the last round of the second half onwards, he has been fantastic. Stododo, all alone. He's got 2 players where that came from, and maybe there's a world where you find a Sentinel, but not really with the scope hiding him out. 13 and 13. Bait look to fight for the slight edge as they go towards that potentially final steps of overtime.
I would say just in terms of form and expectations coming into this series, you know, especially with the way Iberian Soul started this map, you would say it is a necessity in this series. For this game to have ended up being as close as it is very surprising, first off. And yeah, concerning for the prospects of Iberian Soul offering us up a solid series overall.
Nipple never stopped. He's all the way through, crossing over without smokes, and Alex has absolutely no idea. This is perfect timing, but unfortunately they've lost out a Sentinel elsewhere. The ramp push coming through from Stododo and Sosol bears fruit, and the bomb will be left behind. Head trick trades. Alex outside found, and they still have no idea what Nipple is up to.
It will be hard to activate him, though, unless he comes up the vents. It's just going to be very difficult for him to get much of anything unless they put some pressure towards the lower side or ramp. Or they throw a late outside wall, and they're hoping that someone goes down those vents so that Nipple can capitalize. If they rotate lower, they will get a free kill.
Unless Sosol is the one to do it. And it does feel like that's what they generally do, try and prioritize. It's going to be a bit of aggression coming out from David G, looking for Alex 666. In the meanwhile, if this is going to be a casualty found, it would be big, but they don't know. Alex 666 managed to duck away inside hut, and this would be an absolute steal if he stays alive with it. Sosol, I think Sosol might have opened the door.
Mopo's also made some noise just moving.
Well, there goes Davi G. Mopo's also positioned. No, he turns away. Davi G. I don't know if the call is to be worried about heaven or anything like it. That's the only possibility. Mopo's expecting a second peek.
Still Stododo door.
Will get a freebie. Stododo good for one. Hunts for more. Nipple will fall to the secondary peak. Somehow Stododo's going to keep it going. Flashes himself, but he's fine with the time it buys. There's 10 on the clock, and he's still pursuing the P250 to try and trace Alex 666. He turns the corner, plants the bomb, goes all in, but a Molotov to turn him away. He can still find cover. He can still find cover. The 1v1 with Sosol wins before will be another success handed to Iberian Soul. Not through Sosol, but really through Stododo and his all.
And yeah, I have to say, Stododo, fantastic effort there from him. Not only the fact that Iberian Soul actually didn't fall into the trap, you know, late outside wall, nobody tried to drop those vents. They understood that there could have been this timing. They make the decision maybe that they need the extra reinforcements a little late, but what do they do instead? They take control of door, and Stododo, alongside Davi G, is, I guess, able to just keep that position. And so as they try and reroute after they kill 2 on that top side, all just by a very solid lurk, it does seem as though they've been kind of hoodwinked, baited into the idea, and Stadodo is able to hit all these important shots. You know, his position was not great to deal with multiple members flying up those vents, but he hit every single one. He didn't overswing, didn't swing too wide, always just kept himself a hard target to hit. His most important round, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we were praising Kenzie Zor for stepping up into overtime. It's good to see Iberian Soul will be having someone who can do the same.
Yeah, and this is kind of the story of these two teams. You know, I think when we consider the heavy hitters on either squad, usually it is a fairly even keel distribution. You know, maybe Alex Sossol, you know, sometimes Davi G, sometimes Stadodo. You know, it does alternate from map to map. And I think the same can be said for Bait with Nipple and Kenzie Zor. You know, we maybe expected more out of Kenzie Zor coming into this series, given that he can be such an aggressive piece, especially on map control efforts on CT sides. But he has maybe not been delivering in that same vein, but you're finding impact via Alex and Essential as sort of compensate, as a means to compensate for that, I guess, lack of Kenzie Zor impact. But you know, he's not. This is the thing that we always say about, you know, high impact pieces in general on rosters. They're very rarely asleep for an entire map, let alone, you know, when we get into overtime and further, it gives them more chances to find themselves again and find that level that we expect for them on an average. Yeah, it's very well distributed for both these rosters. It's maybe been a bit of a shame to see Mopos take a step back from his aggressive tendencies. Was kind of a front runner, kind of entry lurking kind of player for quite a long time, but did feel like he was a specialist on certain maps.
And Mopos in CSGO was he was the guy.
Yeah, he really was.
Inferno, Ancient, and honestly,
Vertigo as well.
I think if Anubis had sort of been a thing in his heyday, he would have probably been very good at it as well. But unfortunately, I have to be honest with you. I hate saying this. I really hate saying this, but it does feel like he's one of the players that has never really been able to transition that form forward. And I don't know whether to blame CS2 for that. I don't know whether to say, hey, you know, obviously he's an older player now. Everyone else is just getting better and better all the time. Anyway, it's always going to be harder to make moves like that. But he's a man I would very sorely miss in terms of his demonic days. God,
yeah,
those were rough.
I think it's probably a mix of, you know, he was always a little bit inconsistent. You know, that role by itself is, I guess, high variance. But even still, he was a little bit, you know, he'd have months where he was very on and then months where he was very off. But then you kind of know on, I think, the right thing, and that he's, you know, he's becoming more of an experienced sort of veteran level player in his age. And, you know, I think this is something that maybe you'll appreciate the comparison to. But if you, for example, take MOBAs as an example, where some of the best supports in the world sometimes are people that have carried or have played a core position, where they, I guess, appreciate all the details of what a support player or someone that can take a step back and set you up for success can be. And so for Mopos, this is maybe a bit of a transition in his career where, you know, maybe he has to make a bit more room for someone like Soulsoul or Davi G, or hell, I mean, I don't want to say Alex because he's not only older, but he's also the in-game leader. But maybe takes a step back and thinks, okay, how can I set my team up for success in the ways that I was once set up for in the past?
See, you say that, but whenever I think of MOBA players and them, you know, going forward to be great supports, I just think, yeah, I definitely want the guy who moaned for 10 years that his support was the reason why he wasn't winning to become the support. Because, hey, you know what? You know how to do it so well. Go do it for
Yeah, dude, I mean, be the change you want to see, you know? Set the bar.
Yeah. And they will do that for about 3 years, and then everyone will ask for them to be kicked too.
It's like, wait a second, I'm lowest on the priority of retention. Nobody appreciates all the, you know, I forgot that supports are unsung heroes.
I is the one singing. Come on, guys. I mean, it's one of the things that, you know, even if you look out towards the wider world of CS, whenever roster changes, everything happens, you are like, hey, if you're advocating for this, you might be putting yourself in a bad position to do so, right? I mean, that was sort of the conversation with Brolin as well, which was that, hey, you know, if this doesn't work out for you, you're going to be the first one out, right? Because your numbers are going to suffer. You're an unproven IGL and everything on as well on mouse sports.
But Apex
This
got
is
so much
dangerous.
time. Why can't I be treated like Apex? Oh, that's not good. Oh wait, no, it's a round restart.
I think
No,
that is
no,
good,
that is
to
good
be
actually.
fair.
I think that is good.
I know it looks kind of daunting.
It was
like,
kind of
no,
terrifying.
Everyone just died.
Everyone just drops.
No, but yeah, it is one of those things which is always interesting, especially when you sort of look out towards just the wider world of sports, where it feels like players have a lot less input, and then you look out towards, you know, esports where players are a lot younger as well, right? Like, so you're potentially making your career-defining requests onto what this roster is going to be without the same experience behind you, etc. And you also, despite being inexperienced, have so much more control of a roster than like a traditional sports team would.
Yeah, no, and I think as well, I mean, we still see that level of influence across, I mean, I think, you know, the NBA is maybe the example that jumps to mind where, you know, LeBron is kind of GMing, but also
Like, hey, can I play with my son?
yeah, and wait, somehow we managed to secure Luka Doncic. What's going on here? But we'll take it. You know, there are examples where that has been the case, where players do have that level of influence, but it's not always, I guess, universal, and you wouldn't expect it to be either. I think even in the esports sphere, we have, you know, ex-players from one esport to another creating their own organizations. I mean, Bait is a great example. Dendi from once upon a time Na'Vi fame within Dota is kind of one of the leads behind this project. So this is one of the... There are definitely examples where that people can make that transition, but it's usually a little bit more like that is their set role. They're not still actively on the team. It does sometimes feel like a conflict of interest, maybe, if a player is GMing, but also a core member.
Look at G2, right? You know, made by League of Legends, like, you know, legendary European League of Legends player. A lot of these, you know, COD orgs as well, FaZe and whatnot. So, yeah. Guys, we are done with the break and we are right back over into the second half of OT. If you have been catching only the yapping, it is 14-13 in favor of Iberian Soul off the back of a fantastic hold from Stradodo, topped out by a nice clutch from Sorcerer as well. Bait are on the back foot.
Yeah, a quick server change and we're right back into the action. So let's see if Iberian Soul can continue to work off the advantage. You know, coming in with an 8-4 half, they found a lot of success on this T side, and they're really hoping that that can be continued as they look to try and close out this map. A must, we've deemed, for the series to be competitive, compelling. But Bait have not been a slumber for the entirety of Nuke. Late outside control taken here by Iberian Soul, but with Hedrick already down on those lower steps with that AWP, they could be walking into a bad time.
Does feel like that is going to be the case, but Hedrick is really committed to this angle. He'll have to fight his way out, and he is ready to flex his muscles. 3 is all he'll get, but I say all as if that's not already enough. Kenzie Zor peeks forward, but it's an expected move. Hut was his chosen avenue of aggression so many times over, but Mopos might not realize there's another player where that came from. Alex 666 substitutes him out. It is still 2 versus 3. Hedrick's efforts will have maintained that advantage, but Mopos continues forward. He knows that Nipple likes to play this angle, but it will not be enough. Alex now swinging out, not ready for Alex number 2. Or number 666, if we're being specific.
Yeah, Mopos really wanted to do his best there, but he also needed to try and secure a path for his teammate to come up with those vents. And without Alex being able to reroute towards that top side, then the bomb wouldn't have been able to make its transition. So Mopos, maybe if he had stuck around inside of that hut, could have gotten a secondary kill, but he might have also called an all clear that was not the case, and then the bomb would be left in no man's land. You know, tried to account for as many possibilities as they could. Bait having those 2 players as contingents on that top side, certainly helping to stop that plan.
We managed to have some fantastic moments from the Ops now coming into the overtime.
Yeah,
Hedrick and Stradodo both were struggling before, and now looking good.
Not every day we get to see the Hedrick hat-trick.
Not every day we get to see Mopos having a head either. He's been getting headshot a few too many times, unfortunately. He has not been sharing in the success of his teammates as far as the numbers are concerned, even if he has been fulfilling an important role. Alex 666 down below is going to be the solitary defender. hoping to try and mimic some of the success that Hetrick found here earlier on. It'll be difficult with just the A1, but he'll snipe out one very easily. So 4 versus 3 as a lower bomb site will be taken over. Essential still holds down the defensive line. Oh, legs spotted. Davy G's perfect peak will equalize back to a 3-on-3 in the post plant.
They have nothing to segment or stall, though. HE looks very good, though. Damage onto Hetrick. The flash as well will keep him at bay, and the second HE didn't seem like it really made it. I mean, it definitely got far enough away. Hetrick had to duck himself out of that. Stododo timing. Oh, it doesn't look great, and he shoots too far above on that player coming towards the secret steps. Nipple will press the issue, but Davigi wins his duel, but Kenzie Zor right back in with the trade, 2-on-2.
Do they have a smoke over here? Yes, they do. Oh, Hetrick's gonna have to wait for this one. He's the one who has to get onto the AWP. Kenzie Zor tries to defend him. Stododo looking inside the smoke, cannot make up for his earlier mistake. It's just 2 HP, but Hetrick still gets away with that defuse. That is going to be Stododo kicking himself for not being able to find Nipple there.
Yeah, I mean, he jiggled, he saw him, he did a double take, he sets up his crosshair and he shoots where his head would be if he was standing up, but, you know, Nipple was crawling across that secret angle, and I know he still ultimately dies, but it still draws the attention away of Stododo from the side a little bit longer. Davy G is tagged up. There was definitely a way in which the post plant could have gone better had Stododo got that kill very early into the retake attempt.
Map point now for bait. Yeah, hoping to close things out here and now. Doubling up out towards Rapid is Hetrick to provide backup, but Davy G somehow gets away with a kill. Nipple, this could be the difference maker. There's already a player going down into the vent, and Alex is flanking Nipple as well. Both sides underneath the tag, they decide to prioritize upper. There's still a player at the back of it. It is Kenzie Zor who has been providing us with some good old-fashioned shots, but right now just some old-fashioned death. Sentinel trades! He's traded a smoke that he's pushed through for 2 kills. That's the best trade in history.
Bomb got down, though.
Brings it back to a 2 versus 2. Kit on both players. Smoke, flash, no pause. Lies behind. Essential smokes off his back as he's worried about a late flank. They're going to be able to clear out one angle, not the second. Hetrick with a 5-7 continues to push forward. It will not be enough. 15-15. Iberian Solar still in this.
Oh my god. It's the secondary lurk. One goes through the smoke, and Davy G, the fact that he was able to get away with his kill is pretty outrageous. But then all this mounting pressure on the top side from the rest of Iberian Soul draws attention away from Alex on the secondary push through the main smoke. Oh, this round was all over the place. If not for the efforts of Essential there getting that double kill, the round was going to be a total wash. But even with that small glimmer of hope, it's not enough for them to bring the round back into their favor. This secondary overtime, no holds barred, no idea how it'll end up panning out, and that's exactly what we like to see. Nice to see that Iberian Soul on this rise back. Alex back in his... back with familiar faces from his region, putting up a solid effort.
Oh my god.
But if Nipple starts to activate, this could be terrifying. 2 kills outside on a solo defense.
I'm already scared. Mopo's trying to pursue forward. There is really nowhere to go but down, and Essential wants to make it more literal than figurative. Essential, though, will be the one to fall first and foremost. Alex 666 around the corner, spots out ahead. He will go uncleared, they realize it, and will rectify that error. While doing so, even finding Nipple on that Molotov. Turns out advantages don't mean jack squat. Kenzie Zor wants to push forward against the disadvantage that his team has found himself into. Quick nade into the smoke will not be helpful. He can't really find a kill, and without that, they have to move back.
Yeah, I mean, saving in overtime feels awful, first off, but they have no kits. The kits are, I guess, in transition to the bomb site, sure, but getting smoked off at the very start of the retake attempt, then trying to have to flush out all these Iberian Soul members, it would have taken up way too much time. May not have been able to secure a route to one of those kits as well. Good incendiary, but it's not enough. They planted far enough away that those secret steps are actually going to be maybe 20 damage maximum if they were allowed to secure themselves in that corner. Well, it's certainly one way to start another overtime. Double kill from Nipple, and then they just lose out on all these important fights on the lower side of the map. It's in-game leaders leading the charge on fragging, really, as we get into these overtimes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess you don't want to be getting the opening frag or something like it. Well, Soso hopes to try and disprove that. He was doing a lot of these opening frags earlier on in the regulation of this game. But Hedrick right now, despite being able to rush him down with the P250, is still going to concede his life 5 versus 2 if you were saving, 4 versus 2 rather. If you were saving the previous round, I wouldn't blame you for doing the same here, though that option is taken away, courtesy of Dodo.
I really don't know what happened this round. Why? I mean, first off, Soso instant drop to get that kill on the top side. That's a massive miscommunication. That was a possibility. But then Alex just thunderfoots wide swings out for the duel when Soso is not pressing that bomb site any longer. He wanted that trade, but he came to that realization maybe a second too late. And it just gives all the sound cues that Soso needs to win another duel. It just felt like they wanted to run at that one player inside of main in Soso. And everywhere they went, there was, I mean, rightfully so, more than just Soso they had to worry about.
The only way I can even try to rationalize it is they're just worried about that double lurk play again that Iberian Soul ran earlier on. They're just getting PTSD from that.
But even the guy from the Lonely Box ran from Lonely Box to
PTSD
main.
doesn't make sense, Michael.
Yeah, it was outrageous, those rotations. Even just the choices. I think there was fully just they got caught with their pants down and were trying their best to reach for the belt.
Well, right now Dodo's done the same. Listen, to be careful. This is going to be a tough time. The smoke's going to start to dissipate in a couple of seconds as well, but he will be able to back off to safety. Doesn't calculate it incorrectly. Soso has spotted Mopos is the one to remove it immediately. 4 versus 3 damage. He found out the grenades weakening him up, but as long as he can keep Alex 666 and company occupied, that would have been great. He buys him a few extra seconds, but it might not be enough. Mopos is low. Do not forget the bomb being planted. Mopos gets a fantastic position. Soso with the elbow spotted earlier on will be able to get an easy kill. Nipple now worried about a crossfire that could be presented from behind the double doors, and that's exactly what he's having to deal with. 18 at the turn of overtime. It feels like the Spanish side are finally ready to put a nail in the Nuke's coffin.
Yeah, it really did feel as though Bait got thrown completely off kilter, being back on that CT side again, and it just that looked worse than some of the holds we had in regulation, and they were getting completely thrown off guard. They were hoodwinked, all the pushing and pulling from the Iberian Soul side. Now suddenly we just have this complete disjointment of communication and player positions. They start in odd spots, and then they're getting destroyed on their attempts to, I guess, address the problems. Really nicely done by Iberian Soul. Getting this 3 rounds straight should be enough to secure them this map, even if it was a grueling effort. Alex will blow the smoke just as Nipple crosses, so those two impactful in-game leaders going head-to-head at the start of the most important round of the game for Bait. I mean, every single round in this half is going to be important,
especially the ones where, you know, they could have just won the game too earlier on. I didn't want to call you out.
Yeah, listen, okay. But this is now the most important round of the game. Gotta think about it one round at a time.
Stododo, hoping to find the better of Kensizor in an angle that largely was flipped around a bit more so. Kensizor versus Mopos is what we managed to see. This timing isn't the best for him to retreat, but Kensizor, now that he's starting to thunderfoot forward, will still be taken down. The dropping Mopos finds 2, and although Stododo misses, it's still Hedrick who has to pull out an ace clutch. The first 2 kills, the grenade, the Molotov, it all looks good, it all looks pretty. But it's been smoked off now, and they can recede backwards, reinforce their sides, and play off of each other if they want to. Hedrick, the time isn't the best, but he has enough to start to move down to the lower side. Upper has been cleared away. The CTs might be slow to rotate, except for Alex, who is in position to just bull rush forward. But Hedrick is really taking his sweet time with this one, and Alex doesn't even need to rush like a bull. He's already managed to squeak downstairs. Ratty little move, and with 10 seconds, no smoke, head trick is a goner, and so is this map. 19 for Iberian Soul. They'll take away their pick. Maybe not in style.
Yeah, I mean, they led the first half in regulation. For them to have, I guess, fumbled as much of a lead as they had and lose out, especially considering how good of a job they did, I guess, in both CT and T side. I think a lot of the moves look logical, a lot of the contingent
In comparison to, your Colognes and your Karavitsas and everything. That's the kind of event that Bait really hopes that they can start to slot into. And if you lose a few of these online matches, you're never going to be getting there. Admittedly, Iberian Soul are maybe a team that I would say is slightly deflated in their rankings. I don't actually think that they're the number 108 team in the world right now, Michael. I'll be honest with you. But hey, maybe that's just me.
You got to earn your place in VRS. And, well, it can be hard to get those opportunities. So you can't squander them. Iberian Soul are a map to the good, winning their opener in Nuke. So winning it 2-0, being able to show a good performance here on Mirage does feel like their best shot at helping to climb back into relevancy and get invitations. It will start here on the CT side, and it's also playing close with Dualies on an A take.
Gaben is watching. Sosol. Last game, it was all the spotlight on him, and for good reason. Right now, he hopes to replicate with success in the pistol. Double on the Dualies, and now it's going to be a quick procession forward into the A site as trades come through. Headtrick and Alex from Bait.
What?
Okay, 1 versus 2. We're gonna forget about that for a second because Davy G inside the smoke is trying to push forward, take the isolated duels while the bomb is planted. Good for one, can it be good for two? Reloading around the corner doesn't really work for anyone, and maybe thankfully so.
Yeah, I mean, Sosol did a great job at getting his first kill. I think Stododo actually stole one of the two that it looked like Sosol himself was lined up for, but then Alex reloading as he's clearing spawn, a bit of a question mark. The 1-on-2, just, I mean, this round was hectic, a bit all over the place. I'm not sure either team was really comfortable with how that one transpired, but maybe a sigh of relief there for Bait that they're able to not only get that bomb down, but then also win the clutch as well. Oh, it's a risky peek for Stododo to have gone for, but he missed his shot, and his opponents did not miss the other way.
Oh,
and that's a tease. And a knife. Oh, clear your corners. Alex did not clear deep enough, and then Mopos gets caught off of fake information. Well, this map has started in an interesting fashion.
Money, money, money.
Tons of money and tons of mistakes.
Hey, listen, I'm all about the bright sides, and that wasn't one of them. Look, at the end of the day, it's a gun rounds that matter, right? That's what Counter-Strike's all about. Maybe we just stayed the game started at 3-0.
Some kind of weird handicap system after losing a map.
Well, listen, we don't know if it's going to be 3-0 yet, I suppose. One can hope and assume, but who knows, man? Who knows?
Oh, at this point, bring it on.
It's going to be 3 men inside connector, and Kenzie Zor will be facing them down. Not really much of a challenge, even if we are saying it's 3. It's just the pistols, and it will be Bait going through very smoothly. Success has been found.
Yeah, no casualties, not even that much damage really being done to the Bait members. They played up-tempo, they knew they were against USPs most likely, and they capitalized, so very nicely handled. Didn't get caught by a random Deeg or anything of the sort.
All right.
Stododo does have an ult for this first gun round, though.
Well, let's see what he can do with it. Scout wasn't able to really provide him too much. It's going to be a slow ascent up window, and he's met by 2 sets of smokes, but Bait, well, they've got their sets of smokes now ready for an A-site execute. There will be 3 players here to intercept. David G is point number 1, though. Molotovs for under balcony is hardly helpful. He's managed to keep himself alive for a very long time, and you can't say the same about a lot of these Bait players. Mopos dies to the flames, but Alex is actually finding great damage through the corner of the default box while the bomb is still on the ground. This Molotov from the T side is likely going to be extinguished soon, so Dodo will be able to re-establish sight lines with the help of Sosol nearby. And Alex only has to play containment while Nipple will be dropping the bomb yet again. So Soul's push forward will continue to make Essential a little bit worried about his avenues. And as he peeks back out, it's a long-range duel. The A4 is favored, and it is a successful hold on the A side.
See just how smart Alex is in that situation as well. I mean, from all the damage he was doing around the connector and the bottom side of stairs onto default, all the pressure he was trying to apply. Once he got that man advantage, he just gives up a ton of space to his opposition, understanding that, listen, if these two players from site are able to swing spawn and find an isolated fight, his position, if it gets compromised, gives the player an out and a lot of free real estate where he doesn't have to worry about peaks. So Alex just prioritized his position, kept info, and is able to tie the bow on the round via his teammates. So sometimes it's not always about getting the kills. The position is important. Alex demonstrating that in a very solid affair. Still another buy, of course, here for Bait. AWP for head trick, and an immediate pick from it catches Alex round the top of that connector smoke. Tried to go fast, but head trick is very quick on that trigger.
Stadodo can be left with the task of maintaining control over this B bomb site all on his own if you want to. The AWP is in a great position to do that. So reinforcing onto A still means that this 4 versus 5 is not going to be quite as cut and dry as you might expect. Especially if it ends up being an A site lean.
I don't want you to think I'm picking on you, but I actually always prefer that to saying his actual name.
You mean Drulu?
Yeah, I think that would just be more fun.
I will try to indulge with this.
like being on a vinyl record and the DJ is remixing.
Well, listen, the DJ doesn't have too much time left on the dance floor. There's 30 seconds, and he really put on a bop soon. Nipple is hunting for heads, but Davy G's the one grooving away. 20 seconds, and still a man on the site is Smokeboss to continue shutting him down. An Incendiary as well to keep the bomb away. This is all about the delay. And with 12 seconds on the clock, Alex 666 will be able to put himself in a good planting position unless Sododo can cancel it. Finds one, hunts for maybe a bit too much, and it all returns back to Mopos. A flashbang through. Alex 666 puts him down, but Mopos will be creeping forward. Finds the one. Will there be more? There's no smoke. There has to be. The defuse cannot come through. Alex will shut him down with the wall bang.
Oh, how different this round would have been if Stododo had seen the player on the plant. It actually could have changed the tone of the round. Or if Mopos' Incendiary had actually hit the target. It went a little too far. Not a proper lineup being demonstrated. Maybe just kind of threw one on the fly. Understood that the angle would work to his favor, but that Incendiary going a little too deep couldn't have bought those extra seconds that they really wanted. And yeah, Stododo just picking the wrong target, but Bait once again bailed themselves out of a very hairy situation, getting that plant down, finding the pick on Stododo, the trade. Nipple, oh my god, this timing is weird. They just flash bottom side con, and so they get caught by that util. Even if they're coming away with kills, they were trying to set themselves up. But Nipple was up so far on the catwalk that it kind of works against them.
Did they team flash?
I think they team flashed.
Yeah.
Because Nipple just started fighting on short as they were about to set up for that double bottom connector play.
It was a good call, but unfortunately, a couple of the players just turning out blind. So although there was a 4-man swing out and a late 5 as well that was planned for Iberian Soul, they just can't make the most of it.
Yeah, what leads me to believe it's a team flash is that there was no flash assist for Nipple or any of his teammates on his side, so... A little bit unfortunate for Iberian Soul, but a healthy start for Bait. They're playing with some tempo here on Mirage, and you can see why they're so confident on this map. Just willing to show a bit of a variety to their hand. A lot of damage on the B players. Nade, not really chasing down that low player. It was actually Kenzie's that finished off the job. Davy G also trying to channel around the short side smokes. And with Nipple getting a double kill, that should secure enough path towards B, even with Alex here. There's just too many members to deal with, and too many smokes. Kenzizor, a double kill himself. A nice 6th round against the half-buy of IBS.
Impressive that Kenzizor managed to stay alive even after just thunderfooting up short to go for that initial peak and initial distracting play. Time are now being used by Iberian Soul as they have to put together a defensive plan.
Hard not to encourage one of your players to do that play when Nipple himself ran up catwalk and was fairly uncontested. You know, they're getting the spawn smoke down, they're getting a top mid smoke down, and right now it doesn't seem like Iberian Soul are that interested in peeking the bottom side of connector at the start of the round.
Nipple was on Navi when Simple was there at, you know, one of his last peaks. He knows all about rules for thee and not for me, okay? Stododo will be back on the AWP, featuring a loss in some utility, but nothing too substantial. It all really comes back down to this round over here. Bait have been put in hairy positions, like you said, but Iberian Soul, unfortunately, have never really been able to make the most of them. We'll pause. If there's a good flashbang from Alex, this could be a peek into 2. That seems to be the call, but the smoke is not long for the world. He turns around as Nipple pushes into the smoke. That is disaster. It has struck once, but Alex is where it will strike twice. The peek into the AWP of Hedrick means that this round is already gone. You have to save. There's no other choice.
Oh my god. They're actually just getting destroyed. Fast calls, not honoring smokes. Bait are having their way with them. They're breaking into these bomb sites a little too easily, aren't they?
It does feel like it.
Entries in mid or entries on ramp, everywhere they go, they're sparkling opening duels, and it's on Iberian Soul to find trades or counters, and it's just not been consistent.
No. That extra death is going to be very, very significant as well.
I mean, you just see the amount of money that Bait have. Why wouldn't you hunt? Especially when we think about the start of the game. Essential had a Mac 10. He got a knife kill, two SMG kills. He was on like 9.5k in the 3rd round. And, oh, wow, the pre-fire from Alex is so on the mark. Solsol has done enough to hold on to his AK. But god damn. Oh, ult recovered as well, and the kit. So got as much value out of what remained of all of these cadavers outside of the apartments.
I hate to call for this because I know how incredibly difficult it is for an op in Mirage to do this now, these days on CT side, but we just need to see some early aggression from Stododo. Bait are not coming through with like they have any speed bumps in their plans at all. They're not worried about an op, they're not worried about an early peak coming out from like a Sawsall. It just doesn't feel like his role in this map or anything like it. Who do I look towards to try and establish early presence? It has to be Stododo.
Yeah, it's mid. It just feels like free territory. You know, when they're throwing the mid window smoke and the short smoke, they're not HEing the mid window smoke. They're not HEing the top mid smoke. They're applying very little pressure onto these high traffic positions for Bait. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, there's not enough speed bumps in their path. They're not doing anything to interrupt the Bait plan. The one round we saw them try and do that, they mistime a flash, or rather they flash at actually a decent time, but they get distracted by Nipple already charging his way up short.
Yeah. There's that play that we asked for, Stododo getting aggressive immediately, but little does he know there's another one of those Kenzizor plays where he's all the way in, and although that would have been the perfect punish, it's only if you hit the shot instead. The B-bomb side about to be bombarded, and Sawsoul's success in that previous round was all exits. Now it has to be onto the players entering. Good for the first. Backup's been called. Sawsoul gets 2, and that's enough to make this round possible, but maybe just a pipe dream, and IBS will realize that as well.
Oh my god. It's the Dodo, man. He does everything right. I mean, he gets to the position he's supposed to. He can hold second Delpan, he can hold short. But you're right, he has to hit that shot. And when you miss it, the round is ultimately gone.
Oh my god.
Mobos was fishing for that AWP inside of the smoke, and of course Kenzizor is right behind him trying to punish it. But he's run through the incendiary, and Mopos is fully aware of that, so once again, getting his hands on that AWP and should be able to save it as well. That's actually a really good job from Mopos. I don't know how much it will benefit them when Stododo has effectively a free kill on short. Like, we're not going to mince our words there. That should have been a pick. But they'll give Stododo another swing at it.
He doesn't have a good spawn for anything either. That's the worst thing. Maybe if you want to go for like a palace peak or anything like it, but it's not like that's been...
Yeah, I mean, he can pick ramp. He can also... Yeah, he can pick to palace. He could, in theory, pick bottom con, but he's just starting ticket.
Maybe it's going to be paying off for them, though, this time over. There is a hat-trick AWP up top, and it's been singed. An early peek from him. Takes a lot of damage.
A bit weird.
Did he peek into his own molly?
No, he peeked into the... Actually, yeah, I think it must have been.
Yeah, because that's so much damage. CT models don't do that.
Yep, you're right.
Oh. Definitely more than he asked for. Mopos is in pursuit. Oh my god, if he's going to be peeking into this one, that is going to be not the easiest shot in the world to hit, to be honest. A fast push forward would be the difference maker, and Mopos is going to be slowly going in. It's the worst possible situation. The difference maker that I asked for just wasn't there, but at least Stododo's found one. Alex on the other side turns away right as they start to push through. Nothing is working out for Iberian Soul.
Oh. How smart is Head Trick, though? Singes his feet. Mopos hears him, and he's thinking, well, he's already low HP. All I need to hit is a headshot. But little did he know, it was all a clever ruse, an omega bait by Head Trick on the AWP.
Head Trick's living up to his organization.
I can't believe he got so lured in.
He just didn't expect the AWP.
But then he heard these flashes, I think topside con, so he knew he had to push. And he didn't want to... I understand he didn't want to make steps inside of Palace, because if they... someone throws a Molotov, burns their feet, they know that they're in Palace. So it's not a lurk. And so, from Opus' point of view, he's maybe thinking, oh, well, if that lurk no longer has the element of surprise, he might have just given up Palace and played for position, and Mopos tries to play for position there. But it does just look quite funny from our point of view, knowing that Head Trick is just waiting for someone to walk into Palace, and sure enough, Mopos is slowly peeking into the worst weapon that he could.
Alex is mirroring the success right now of Iberian Soul on the rounds. He is 1-9, and guess what? The rounds are 1-9 as well. And with what looks like another A-side hit being planned out from Bait, mid has been contended for successfully, but you are going to have to pull 3, maybe 4 players in through these smokes. Mopos jumps up onto the bench for the initial kill. It's an excellent move, but you still can't do anything about actually scaling up. And look at these grenades. They just keep on bombarding. The CTs feeling unbothered by them so far. But you are still going to have to rotate players in. You have kits, you have utility. And the numbers advantage has somehow been maintained. The flashes of what you need to start funneling forward. No more T-side utility. It comes down to Head Trick to hold down the line with his AWP. Good for the one, but he's turned around. Sentinel finds another, but it's back to a 3-on-3. Time is ticking down low. The flashbang will not matter. Head Trick keeps a hold of it. It just cannot be crossed. Head Trick is on 4 HP. He will be able to survive and win this round practically on his own on the defense. His death will not matter. Bait are up to 10.
I don't know what to say. Opening move from Mopos, fantastic. Gets his kill, round the bench, and then everyone is just throwing util at each other through smokes. Everyone. The con players are doing it. I think Daviji was the only one that retained all of his util as that rotator from B. But nobody on Bait had any util left. They threw all their flashes, all their HEs, all their Molotovs. Everyone was barren, dry. All they wanted to do after those smokes faded was fight and swing off each other, and they came away ahead on the trades, being down a man. That feels outrageous to me, that Iberian Soul were able to get that man advantage and not be able to convert it when Bait had nothing further to stall them, and you just see what it's... The ramifications. It's again one of these rounds where it's just contact plays into a bomb site. This has been the story for Bait this T-side half. They get away with near absolutely everything, but that overstep from Nipple could come back to cost them. 3-on-3 still.
Listen, this time the bombardment will be turning out well for the T side. 3-on-2 as Hetrick is still heading away. He continues to be the safeguard for the round that they are really relying on. Sossol will be swinging into certain death, and with an 11-1 scoreline, it might be a certain win for Bait. Still, maybe some banana peels that Iberian Soul can try and toss over. They're going to have to break to find them in the garbage bin.
What a half.
Something new, yeah. Got my senses here on overload. All my body is for you to hold. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Feel like something new, yeah. And I never thought that got me wanted. Never thought that never thought that never thought that never thought that I'd be saying you feel more like a dream, yeah. You feel like something new. You feel like something. You feel like something new. You feel like something. I feel like I'm in another galaxy. Take my time in your eternity. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Feel like something new, yeah. And I never thought that got me wanted. Never thought that never thought that never thought that I'd be saying you feel more like a dream, yeah. Feel like something. You feel like something. You feel like something. You feel like something. Feel like something. You feel like something.
Listen, guys, I know there's a second half and all, but I will remind you, Ancient is a decider for this one, and both these teams are supposed to be good at that. Bait versus Iberian Soul, welcome back. That halftime break will be a bit of a rest for Iberian Soul's fans. I don't know if they're going to be coming back for the rest of this map at the very least.
Am I crazy? Did Kenzizor change his name to Kenzizor 6?
Listen, guys, I know there's a second half and all, but I will remind you, Ancient is a decider for this one, and both these teams are supposed to be good at that. Bait versus Iberian Soul, welcome back. That halftime break will be a bit of a rest for Iberian Soul's fans. I don't know if they're going to be coming back for the rest of this map at the very least.
Am I crazy? Did Kenzizor change his name to Kenzizor 666? Was that in the first half too?
No, it wasn't.
I didn't think it was.
Well, if there is ever any time to pay tribute, it is now. His in-game leader was coming up with some fantastic calls for Kenzizor in that first half, such as push short and have enemy team missed shots on you.
Yeah, both of them, both Alex and Kenzizor were thriving. See if Alex can do much of the same. Of course, he has the kit and the smoke inside of spawn, so he doesn't actually want to force that fight as much as you'd maybe expect as that solo anchor. There's a free bomb plant here for Iberian Soul. No one's swinging from short. It's just heavy numbers in spawn for the CTs.
Nice little double jungle presence as well over here for Iberian Soul. They should be able to isolate out the Kenzie fight, but the Kenzie will just try and keep himself alive while Nipple is pushing all the way into the sites. Dodo and Saucel, good for a few, but with a 3 versus 1, Essential is really going to be looking for a miracle to happen, and that miracle will not come true.
They missed the smoke. So Essential actually didn't have a chance to go for the defuse. I've had an intrusive thought just now, and I don't even think it was my voice that internalized it. But Iberian Soul have got the first piece of the puzzle
The comeback is real.
to start riding on a comeback, but it's only the first piece of the puzzle of a 1,000 set jigsaw, so let's hope that there are no stumbling blocks. I'd like to see a good look from this Iberian Soul on this map, where there have been many not so good looks so far on Mirage.
Oh god, I got scared. I'm getting scared. I'm getting scared of these 5-7s. My god, look at the damage. At least there's no one on the B-bomb side. It is an A-sided stack.
Davi got hit down to 1 HP by Kenzizor on his solo Behold. You know, you can imagine you get that kill. Maybe he could have gotten away, but it's not to be. That's a fantasy land.
It is actually to be.
Yeah, well, yeah. Right on a technicality. It is, in fact, it is.
Hey,
it is B.
It's my favorite kind of right.
I know. Yeah, me too. Unfortunately,
It's called being bad people.
hey,
Look,
is being right bad?
I'm sure we'll be told that one way or another. Look, we're not gonna have a real round for a few more.
I mean, you think about the amount of damage that was done in this round. If it was all done collectively onto a couple of players, this could actually turn around. And you know, this is, I think, something we've talked about quite a lot. Listen, you go in with a force buy. If it doesn't succeed and you pull off a stack, you know, you retain a lot of that weaponry if your opponent isn't going to hunt those weapons out of your hands. So they have just as good a shot as winning this round as they did in the last.
Maybe even more, because it feels like this time they're going to be spreading things out in a bit more of a defaulty position. And if the Iberian Soul side want to be looking for... Do they know that this is another, like, force buy situation, actually? They don't have that information, do they? This could very well just be a full buy coming through. You can see Iberian Soul are giving it a lot of respect, and maybe that's not the play, maybe that's not the move. There are 2 CTs that are aggressively pushed forward into apartments. And they will be receding backwards, putting themselves in a nice little boost up onto the B-bomb site, while Mopos will be getting control over middle. Alex inside the smoke will be hiding away. Moves back to something a bit more defensive. The B-bomb site is going to be the commitment. Flashbang is very well timed. In fact, Alex is dinked down early on. It's chaos on the bomb site. They're not going to be checking Essential. They do, in fact. Saucel clears it out and gets another one. Thought Nipple might be able to distract for a while, but Alex 666 so far is a moneymaker on the site. 3 kills already, almost the 4th. And considering how far away Mopos was, that would have been 2 isolated 1v1s.
Yeah, they were very, very close to pulling that off. They had 3 players already committed to B. The A anchor was coming over, window player as well. They were just a little slow on getting out. Even though they had a good flashbang on short, they actually couldn't capitalize on that frag. And had they been able to do so, it actually could have allowed them to focus on the next fight to come. You know, players coming out of the B apartments. Not a bad half buy attempt there from, or bait, or I guess retained force buy. But now they find their hands onto proper weaponry. Headtrick has that AWP. He was a complete nuisance in some of these late rounds, these slower peaks. Iberian Soul fall into that. Oh, things could be... It could be in for a really bad time once again.
Nice grenade as well from Hedrick, and it's Alex 666 to start things off with a nice kill. He will be chased down, but without a Molotov to trace him out, it will have to be a flying saucer. Not to be confused with the alien flying saucers that do sometimes populate Nevada. Those are only found on Joe Rogan podcast. Mopo's still watching out for a CT aggression through connector that will not be coming through. It's a grenade, in fact, that is trying to enable it. Instead, it is Alex to try and turn things around. 3 versus 3 while the bomb is yet to be planted. It is going down. The Sentinel will not be able to prevent it, but Alex left alone. A 1 versus 2, but damage being taken in through the plywood. It's Nipple to push, but it's going to be Alex to fight back. Not for long. It's running out of bullets on Nipple, but he'll still be able to clean it out. 12 now found for Bait.
Yeah, I have to kind of feel there for Alex. You know, does his job of getting his kill palace. Hedrick was with him around the smokes at the bottom side of jungle, but then it totally abandons his post, and so Alex was that sole defender. But really good job there from Nipple on the rotation, not only getting his kill, but then the following spam, just kept pressure applied consistently in that 2 versus 1, even with Hedrick, you know, trying to find the kill on the AWP. They didn't have full confirmation on that player being low, but Nipple had his suspicions. So, yeah, 12th round here for Bait. You know, played to the numbers game towards the end of that last round. Even with Iberian Soul trying to play with a little bit of pace. It's, unfortunately, you know, it's a long road for them to come back into this game. It's a good pick to find, though. It's a very committed peak from Alex, and he was the man in charge of that A bomb site. They wanted to focus on mid this round. So him losing that, Nipple has to be a rotator and get eyes back on this bomb site.
Lopez is also going to be in a tricky position. It's all about what Kensizo is going to be doing and how long he wants to commit in for short. Lopez is hoping to be able to creep in through, but he's found Kensizo instead. Right back to a 5 versus 3, and Stradoto's in a great angle. Hedrick is not too poorly off himself, but it's not the easiest one to hit the shot for. Nipple already taken down. Hedrick forced away from his own position, and the bomb will be planted. Bait likely to look to save.
Yeah, should be a save call. Any further peaks, especially deep jungle, would be a mistake for Iberian Soul. As much as they would want to get this up out of their hands, it also could have invited Bait into the round again.
Nicely done from Stradoto over here, though, finding the opener and then the follow-up onto Nipple on the rotate as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We were asking for Stradoto to find some impact on the entries or just take aggressive starting lines on that CT side, and, well, the one round that... Or rather, the round we asked for it, we got it the following, and then he missed his chance, so... Important for him that he's able to hit those shots.
Okay,
wow.
that's so unreasonable.
That did so much damage as well.
If he got the kill, it would have actually been significant as well, which is the worst bit.
This is a small reminder. Hedrick has the orb.
I don't think anyone's forgetting. He's 14-6 right now. Best KD in the field. If Sosol wasn't topping him out on the scoreboard, then would have been able to boast the best kills as well. Lopez might have to deal with a lot of aggression coming his way, and although he was fantastic in that previous round, this is not going to be easy. Great crosshair placement for number 1, but it is the second that he was not expecting.
They do still clear out the B apartment, so this is a signal to move here for Iberian Soul. Hedrick full flashed and stayed out in the open. Did not try and tuck himself back in to play position. Man advantage for a moment. Alex a kill with the 5-7 and into a 3-on-3 where they do not have the security to plant. Even this weird lurk smoke thrown by Bait. This is awkward. Fighting round it is Sosol, and it's that 5-7 again round the other corner. But Sosol, the sharp hand, 18 kills and moves for a third on the round. That's 19, and it's all headshots there for Sosol.
Last bullet over there as well to get the kill on to Hedrick. That's not going to be giving me any reassurance, at least in terms of my heart, but always lovely to see Sosol coming into his own. And that is the one thing that Iberian Soul have had activated from Nuke onwards. If Sosol is able to maintain performance like this, look, I'm not saying that they will be spelling out a comeback. No, not at all. But you can make Bait sweat. If nothing else.
I mean, second highest ranked player in the league at the moment, so
Peek forward from Kenzizor, it'll be Alex to fall. Initially an advantage gained by the CT side. This time without Hedrick's AWP, he will at least have recovered an AK. But look at the timing. Mopo's pushing forward. His Sentinel doesn't know if they're able to clear out the jail position. This is going to be a freebie, but no, his Sentinel peeks to try and let Kenzizor have some space. 4 versus 2 in Iberian Soul. Right as we start to talk about Sweat, Bait will turn the fans on. Maybe a bit too cool, a bit too quick. 2 versus 3 now with Davi G recovering some of this angle. Soso will be doing the same with Territory. He's pushing all the way through. Will be spotted out by Nipple, and his feet
barely.
will show. Nipple knows. Soso looking for the duel, will crouch underneath the crosshair and is still hunting for more. Around the corner he goes. Davi G had not moved through for reinforcements, and with that, the round and the game might be gone.
Has to finish with a 4K, 2 players to find, and they're playing shoulder to shoulder inside of market. They're barely leaving each other's sides, but they're now starting to think about other options. Davi G last spotted in those apartments, but that was a while ago. Finally makes a step, a Molotov as well, so can secure this plant.
Incendiary's not going to be spreading out towards him either. He's worried about a short push because he hasn't seen that second player in quite a while, but now with both likely to reveal position soon, he knows the AWP is going to be run down. Not even the first kill found. It is 13 on the board. Bait close out Mirage in style.
I mean, it's hard to say that Bait weren't the better team on this map. An 11-1 start on that T side. They were honestly embarrassing Iberian Soul with the pacey plays they were going for. Even the rounds that were slightly slower building, they were able to find some great success. They had this map in their pocket from start to finish. They got away with pretty much important. Sometimes lurking up B ramp can also be a pivotal duel. The A side anchor sometimes gets thrown into, you know, a bit of a vacuum fight. So I think there's quite a lot of these duels that I think will be important for Iberian Soul. They cannot afford to have their players missing out on getting their one frag, especially on that CT side where they had a lot of struggles deterring some of these lurking, I guess, more bursty plays that Bait brought to the table. But we'll wait to see whether that happens. Iberian Soul are starting on that T side themselves, and we'll see whether Bait offer us up a solid defense or not.
Iberian Soul will be starting things off with 2 sets of utility. A smoke and a Molotov for Dodo, and a couple of flashes sidelined by a smoke bomb in Alex's hands. It is going to be a 5 versus 4 on this B-bomb site, though, as Bait have very heavily stacked 4 players in onto the site itself. An early execute being called from Iberian Soul. Will they be actually committing into it? Hedrick has found Mopos and more. And on top of that all, they've had a smoke bloom in their face on the B ramp side, so it does feel like Iberian Soul are already finding their hopes and dreams dashed.
Yeah, I mean, they used all their util and they've lost 2 players, got sectioned off by a smoke themselves, and so the initial plan is completely forfeit. I don't know if they're going to be able to find a bailout. The best chance they'll have is if Stododo can, I guess, work towards that cave, because the bomb is currently being safeguarded by Alex.
Well, at least there's been a goosh on the Hedrick as well in the meanwhile. Stododo continues forward. It's going to be a 1 versus 1 in cave that he has a chance to start to bring things back on. Bait are low on multiple players. The problem is that they are not going to be giving up duels, not at all easily, at least. Hedrick's playing all the way far back, and to get past Kenzizor, you will also have to deal with Alex 666 at the pillar and cave. He's dealing with multiple positions, but happy to swing into either one of them. Spotted out now. Soso is waiting for that exact peak. Hedrick is, however, the one to look for 3 and finds it as well. He's been incredibly sharp with these pistols, and Bait look like they might not be suffering any casualties. It is Alex on Alex action. Now Alex looks for a bit more, and he will be finding at least 2. Make it 3. 15 seconds. Bomb can be planted. Looks for that long range deal. The last one would have at least guaranteed him a bomb plant, but he can't get it.
One of those headshots earlier on, so his ADR still looks pretty solid. But just getting the finishing blow on a couple more of those members. He would have liked to have gotten the bomb plant, but he knew the round was pretty much scrapped after they constantly got, I guess, swung between different duels. Very nice communication, good team synergy from Bait on that pistol.
It's going to be a faster play this time over, and it has to be Nipple who interrupts it by trying to get an early backstab establishes. Sentinel, good for 1, good for 2, and Nipple actually ends up going down as Sentinel somehow is doing it all on his own. A Galil even recovered, but elsewhere on the map there, It's still going to be some chaos. Mopos will take him down, bring it back to a 2 versus 2. The smoke will be buying a bit more time. Mopos and Stradoro hoping to close the distance, close the gap, and even push through it. Head trick, though, is good for the 1. Now, shot on the side of the body. He will be able to keep alive for a little while longer. Kenzie Zor spots out Mopos. No, he doesn't, in fact. It's inside the smoke and through right back over to A, potentially, and he can go.
Yeah, they cleared out short, though. I mean, they know he's inside of cave. Had to recover that bomb as well, because it was dropped in that position, so even though he didn't spot him, he was able to at least get the information as to where he was not. It's actually a good heads-up play there. Just to keep their eyes on the back of that cave smoke. There was nobody inside of cave, even with all the utility that was thrown at the start of the round. Even with Iberian Soul putting 3 players and losing so many at the forward side of it because of Essential fighting. You know, just the fact that I think it was Davi that was able to keep his head turned the right way to watch that smoke. He was very suspicious, and rightfully so. So you can see Iberian Soul are clued in, but it's not going to necessarily help them. I think Kenzie Zor may have just spammed Essential in the head through the wall there. Puts Essential down to 12 HP. Does not help.
Well,
but it won't matter either.
A lot of money made from the CT side, and that is exactly what you want to see to build up economy early on. You can pull out the AWP for Head Trick as well. He drops an M4 over, so you don't have to be on 3 MP9s, which if they are going to be on 3 MP9s, I will be sorely disappointed.
This is a either fast ramp control or fighting mid-floor take for bait. They will keep these 3 MP9s. And if they do neither, I will be interested to see how they approach this with as many SMGs as they have, because it's full AKs for Iberian Soul.
Well, they have dumped a lot of utility out towards that B lane early on to at least try and feign it, but the problem is going to be this late mid-presence that Davi G and company will be able to find. It's also right next to him as the B lane will be explored. It's 2 players inside Donuts. Nipple will be opening up the smoke and in fact is buying more time and space for the T side. The nade now opens up. Davi G somehow in the 2 versus 1 comes out on top of the initial kill, and they've got the player where they want him to be. Soso waiting for rotations to come over. Essential fires out a bit too early. Soso will be getting nothing, and Mopos is only good for the 1 before traded away. Headtrick doing so much for his team already, 6-1, but with the shadows spotted, they know where Nipple is inside Donut. It was soon to be accompanied by Headtrick. Danger Man has now been put down. Alex left alone in the 1-on-1.
Oh my god, and it's been read into. The counter Alex is 1 step ahead of the play, but look at the crosshair placement from the in-game leader. He was so aware that his cutoff could have been being held, and instantly plugs that into his calculations. That is fantastic work from the in-game leader. 2 kills, but the clutch to top it for the first for Iberian Soul. It was the fact that he hesitated for a moment, got his crosshair ready to peek into deep red. You just knew that he would have that advantage. Alex 666 is hoping that his angle goes uncleared, especially because he's got that SMG. But you can't fool the experienced man of the Iberian Soul.
Better Alex wins, man. That's just the name of the game. Headtrick finds Mopos, puts him down. Headtrick continues to find success. The boost early on the long corner will be giving him that pick.
It's a fairly light util buy here for IBS as well. It's a shame, you know, that's one of the caveats to going into your first gun round, surviving with only 1 player. Nipple as well has struck in for another frag. So it's all got a bit pear-shaped at the start of this round. 1 kill on the extremity at B and 1 on that lurk attempt on the A side.
Well, it's not been a lot of fair fighting in this round. I'll let you know about that. Alex at least picks up 2. Look, if Bait keep getting freebies on Headtrick, it's not gonna go any differently.
Yeah, especially when you're thinking about draw the comparisons often about, you know, AWPers or star riflers. right now, you know, Soul's been the most consistent piece throughout this entire series. He's currently started 0-5, and Headtrick as Stododo's counterpart, you know, Stododo is 1-5, while Headtrick has his death to kill ratio as his kill to death ratio.
Yeah. Nipple's going to be able to aggress forward, realize where a lot of players are coming into. Soul, however, has overrun. There's this half buy, and they're hoping to find success with, if not for the team flash that has slowed them down. Now, that shouldn't matter all too much, but Kenzizor has to be taken care of, and indeed he won't be. All he has to do now is just cordon off the back box area. Will be able to do so. Aggresses forward to make sure the off can't be recovered as the bomb site had been breached. Davi G, good for the one. His Sentinel's position already revealed, but he'll take his time to reacquaint with his teammate, Alex 666. Davi G is worried about his position, especially given the earlier Red Room peak that he was able to find. Now he's got no idea, no bomb. At the same time, his Sentinel doesn't know where that package is either.
Should have some clue, but they'll know that Davi G has access to it, given that they're not peeking that deep line. They're giving him a lot of respect and a lot of space.
Eventually, the CTs have to try and go for information. That's what Davi G's relying on. Pistol now out as well. His Sentinel will shut him down. It becomes a little bit too close for comfort, but even so, Bait will continue winning ways. Kenzizor's earlier hold is not going to be all for naught.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there from Bait, even as they were retaking that bomb site, though. I mean, two players came out of Temple, and they each got a kill a pop. One onto the bomb site, and then one onto another, even though Davi G had already found the kill onto Headtrick and recovered that AWP at the back of the bomb site. So they were still looking main, even though they had info on Davi G. Just that small miscommunication almost cost them a round. Davi G had a very good read in that 1 versus 2, rather. But almost doesn't cut it.
And neither does that early failed run boost. Nibble is going to end up going down because of it, and a late smoke as well.
Gamotos took so much damage at the start of this round. I mean, just in his attempts to get some control over at lane, he's down to 3 HP.
Well, that's the power of the grenades, I guess, and the Molotov with it. Alex 666 spotted out. Soulsol doesn't want to let this be another one of his many deaths in this game so far. Kenzizor is going to be taken down. Soulsol now back to some slightly menacing ways, but the problem is his B bomb site is reinforced by 2, now just 1, and that one is running away.
Yeah, not surprising to see a save call here. Really nicely done there from Bait to have not only found that entry in through mid, but then, you know, continue to run interference via Soulsol. Him not getting caught out by that player inside of Donut just serves as one of the key pieces of the dominoes to fall. If Soulsol's able to get that frag, then suddenly Alex could rotate back to that B bomb site a little bit faster, could have helped out his teammate in support. But all because of that interference, they're held up and subdued. Headtrick will get a kill on the exit and secure his ult for the following round. If he just tucks himself away, there's no way they can get that out of his possession. Second round for Iberian Soul, and it's largely sparked off some early aggression.
And it's put Bait in a complicated position. If Headtrick isn't able to find an early pick-off with the AWP, this is going to be a slightly lopsided round to the Iberian Soul scales.
I see them go for the boost again.
No, it doesn't look like it. Not immediately, at least. No, I'm lying to you, Michael. It looks exactly like it. Wow. They've actually gone for aggression on the A side as well, which is why I was slightly surprised to see this boost. They are hard committing out towards extremities right now, and neglecting mid is an understandable decision, but that is exactly what Iberian Soul are trying to target.
Iberian Soul have used basically all of their smokes, though. They have 1 available left on Soul. They use 1 on Cave, 1 at Ramp, and 2 in through mid. And now that A main aggression has been spotted, all they have is Red Room control.
Hetrick cannot be allowed to get a kill over here. It's a grenade to try and open up the smoke, but no information will be garnered through it. Stododo will reveal no, decides against it. They've decided to go full silent, and maybe this is the right call. Maybe this is the play to make, but they will have to do it dry, like you mentioned. Utility not on their side. It might come down to a timing for Mopos to commit through when that smoke finishes up as well, but they really need those double-pronged assaults to come through. Swing being planned. It's, oh my god, Davi G doesn't even fully swing. Soso's been able to find Kenzie as well, and Mopo's not even needed.
Kenzie's already got off so many bullets before Soso reacted, and only hit him like once or twice, which is actually kind of insane. You know, the MP9 being so aggressive, it caught Soso off guard, and that could have kept at least some kind of control on this A bomb site. Bait had a lot in their favor in this round, but they understood with that red room access, they couldn't hold these sort of deep aggressive lines when they also didn't have that much control over Donut. So, I mean, yeah, really well managed given the circumstances didn't look great for the Iberian Soul. Also surprising that Nipple ends up empty-handed from his position, but
That's...
yeah, Hedrick, he's playing with fire, but he's also kind of been on fire, so he's trying to do damage, keep Iberian Soul's economy modest.
Well, economies are modest on the CT side. They're pulling out the shotguns. My goodness. No, he sold it. He sold it. We're
Yeah,
fine.
he pulled it out. He was thinking like, guys, hear me out. Pulled the shotgun. They looked and said no.
This is where it does feel like the next gun round is going to be make or break for Bait. So far, a lot of their success has been predicated off of Hetrick's early pickoffs.
Yep. And where has he been? Largely on opening sight lines on bomb sites. We've yet to see him actually move for mid control, which has been a very heavy priority these past few rounds for Iberian Soul. Probably to avoid Headtrick.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Call's been working for them. And why change it if it has? I swear that roll on Molotov, like right into cave, is one of the most annoying things.
Yeah, super important that it was placed this round, because they wanted to actually start Headtrick on an aggro line inside of cave, and that one Molotov has kept them back from doing that.
It actually just ruins all their plans. Very nicely placed.
If they contact into the A bomb site, this is free for Iberian Soul.
And likely to remain free. All you are going to have from the Bait side is free USPs to fling at it. There is no reason to try and involve Alex and Hetrick into this when you've found no success so far. It is going to be some smoke flashes through and a bomb likely to be planted well in time. Good timing as well for Iberian Soul to be committing in. I do appreciate this quite a lot in these anti-ecos to not just, wait it out to that last second or anything of the sort. Okay, use your utility, get in there, have a smoke or two for the post-plant if you really want to be careful, but don't let it be a 20-second plant.
Alright, this round could have been a little bit more dramatic given the two saved weapons, but that one Molotov and this call from Alex, right on the mark. The cleanest spray for Davi, even against USPs. It's alright, he's falling into the embrace of his teammates who are also inside of middle.
Alex? No, okay, never mind. I thought he might want to be going out to try and play out for some exits, but having the money for subsequent rounds is still going to be important. You don't feel like you can get Hetrick involved in middle, really, with the AWP. It's not the easiest thing in the world. You really don't want him to be in charge of just solo cording off A because he's having such a hot hand. How do you focus multiple players onto middle if Hetrick is going to be on the B-bomb site where he can't solo?
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't know the solution, because if other players aren't going to prove to be as much of a nuisance, then yeah, Hedrick will have a difficulty getting impact with that AWP. See, just now, I mean, it's one smoke red room with Hedrick starting in that position. This is exactly the problem with trying to AWP in through mid, is that you're constantly going to have to deal with that smoke.
And right now, he will be able to rotate back over towards the B-bomb side. Kentizor right now tracing out Davy G. Hedrick again seems to be danger man #1 for the CT side, but he is still alive on the B-bomb side. Davy G buys time, yes, but he can't buy the win. Not when Nipple and Essential are here to build on Hedrick's success. Sawsall alone will be dismantling the defenses, but there's just too many of them. 6 now on the board for Bait. They will recover that AWP as well going into that next round.
Yeah, and you could see that they actually had a pretty solid read of that. I mean, a 3 start towards mid. They try and execute that B-bomb site, but as soon as that smoke meets them on ramp, they still try and get ahead of it. But as soon as you go through a smoke, your aim is going to be almost certainly in the wrong place. You know, it's guesstimate. You have to effectively guess where your opponents are going to be in defense of that site. And they fall into this crossfire where, even with Hedrick missing all of his, quite a few of his shots rather on that AWP, it just pulls all the attention of the Iberian Soul.
Nading open the smoke away here is Nipple. He's got Kentizor behind him as well, but that was the only HE they had to give themselves information. Hedrick this time over is keeping guard over the A site. So if we had to put our theory to test about Hedrick's openings being what finds them success on the Bait camp, this would be the round to do it. Nice move from them, though, as they start to re-aggress out middle and get information through. It's all about the timing. Essential missing out on what looked like a surefire spam, but it also has to be said, Mopos is in trouble. Alex turns around, there's flashes in his face, but he still finds 1, makes it 2, and he's still alive somehow. He has managed to keep them away from this B-bomb site, and Mopos is left completely alone.
Beautiful decision. I mean, absolutely perfect there from Alex. Once again, smoke down ramp. This time he plays in front of it. He calls Essential back to back him up, and they just pick Iberian Soul to pieces. This 1-on-3 is trying, complex, just incredibly difficult. I mean, one smoke he will throw out that... Oh my god, it's actually at the ramp, and it's... That's not good. Well, you can't win this now.
Oh my god.
He spams it, and he gets spammed right back.
Why didn't he save?
Yeah, it actually would have been worth saving as well. You know, he doesn't get as much bonus cash by attempting that. Once he saw the smoke, he should have just probably realized
I mean, even otherwise
made a mistake.
You're $2,400 loss bonus. Well...
And you see, he's the only one shortchanged on a rifle. But if he kept his rifle, he would still have it.
Let's see whether or not it makes a difference, though. It will not be a faster play despite the slightly lower down economy. Hedrick was perhaps expecting it on the A site, but refocusing attentions down the middle, that is where Iberian Soul have found success before. Nice peek in from Sawsall later on. Davy G tries to play as if it's going to be that single mid player that he has shown off earlier on, but instead it's going to be the late lurk down to red. Reaggression from Bait is the response on the B site. Essential will find Mopos, but not really any information with that. They don't know what's going on here.
You see, Iberian Soul have completely pumped the brakes, hesitant to re-navigate towards lane. But with all that forward aggression, Bait have started to peel back and starting to account for Red Room. Even with the player inside of deep A main, they have 2A, 1B, and 1 mid. So if IBS go fast, this bomb site is looking irritable.
Essential's going to realize too late that he needs to provide company to Alex 666. It has to be a defense akin to what he showed up in the previous round with, but now smokes and molotovs will force him away. The bomb will be planted. Bait are going to be locked out of this bomb site. Are there grenades and HEs? There are. There's good damage as well. The boost will allow Essential to capitalize. And as Hedrick pushes through the smoke, it's Davy G who's gone past it. Now Hedrick worried. He doesn't know what's going on. Making noise all over the place.
Oh.
Davy G lines up 2, swinging for the 3. It will not be. It's Bait on 8. And they'll close out the half with a massive advantage as we go to a break. A red-hot head trick headlining the bait CT side. Now as we transition over the T side, they look to close out an impressive lead versus Iberian Soul to take their win in the ESL Challenger League group stage.
Yeah, getting the pistol, of course, first piece of the puzzle, but we want to see Stododo on an AWP. He has to be able to redeem himself. Starts this half 1-9 to his counterpart 15-4.
Davy G is also 1-9. He just has one more of those ones.
Yeah, sure, if that's to be compared.
Well, Stododo will have a chance to show up over here on the A-bomb side as he is going to be the solitary defender on the initial wave of aggression. There will not be any smokes. There will not be anything to interrupt him. It will just be raw numbers that he has to worry about. And to be fair, that is a pretty big concern to have.
So this is basically a perfect call. I mean, they walk through mid, they get into the 8-bomb site, and they get a free plant. They should realize that Temple is maybe the only thing they have to really worry about, but Stododo does get his.
He's looking for a little bit more, and at least a retreat. Neither one of those will be provided to him. 4 versus 4 now. A point of aggression will have to be met by Nipple over here. He's waiting. He's gotten sound cues. He knows everything going on, but they do double back and check for it. Still a 1-for-1 somehow. When he's got 2 players running down his throat, it is still going to be all 3 coming out in true donut. Smoke down. There's a kit ready as well. Mopo's trying to stick it out, but he can't find it. He can't find it.
Yeah, that's not great. Swag on the bomb should have pressured them, but he needed his teammates to stay alive and provide some level of covering fire. But some nice shots being hit by bait. A perfect call from the early util down to red room, just creeping in through mid. There was no one near enough by to get eyes on that, nor keep sound cues. Even if there was someone within earshot, they wouldn't have heard a peep. Bait walked the whole way, and Stododo needed a multi-kill. Even his one felt like it actually was kind of enough, but the rest of the pieces did not fall into place. Full A stack here for Iberian Soul, and they've pushed through main very fast, but you can see already Alex is considering the possibility of that flank. It's quiet. Maybe too quiet.
Dun, dun, dun.
They're going through T-spawn. They don't route to elbow, and so it will be 5 that will emerge out of those B doors in a moment's notice. Bait will have access to the site, but they may not account for how many are coming on the flank.
Well, listen, all I can say is that Iberian Soul can be happy that copyrights don't last too long. Otherwise, Jules Verne would be very angry with them. Because they just went around the world in 80 days.
I'm glad you walked me into that, because I was gonna say Jules Verne. I don't know what.
No. To be fair, it's an 18. It was published in like 1870 or something. So I don't blame you too much. It's a dated reference.
I mean, you're on the older side, but you ain't that old.
I did have to Google the author name. I won't lie to you.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Well,
has to start now. Full buy here for Iberian Soul, but look at the pace for Bait. They're already close red on this Nipple SMG.
Well, it had to start now for them. For Bait, it started a while back, and a flashbang is only going to be helping out more. Nipple finds Zavi G cornered in by the flames and smoke. It's a triage of utility, but elsewhere, Mopos has done it the old-fashioned way. He just gets a trade. It's hard to say that the round is over, but this is a very nice congregation back to A that's being planned out. It's going to be through middle.
Yeah, they're triple fighting mid, or double fighting it.
Zossel's going to be able to get an advantage. A peek forward, Nipple still gets the win, and with that, he'll be able to enter A with an advantage there. 4 versus 3, no smokes ready. Molotovs are not going to be able to really buy time, so they have to be concerned about a potential push coming in through CT. Instead, it's Mopos who's found out on the flank, and it's even more that's taken down. IBS of nothing, absolutely nothing to offer in that first gun round.
Stricken by irritable bomb sites, and yeah, this first gun round was... you couldn't have honestly created a better plan from the start of it. I mean, from the entry that they get via Nipple, the amount of pressure it applies. You see Iberian Soul have to recede from that B bomb site just to get some level of control back. And even when they actually have their pieces in a decent spot to try and recontest a critical area of the map in middle, you know, Nipple's still able to get a secondary kill. They're able to suss out Mopos on that fast flank to Donut. It just goes swimmingly for the bait offense. This is why, for Iberian Soul, you know, winning Nuke was a necessity, because these other maps in the pool just have looked so good for bait. They're hitting harder, they're making the right calls. The hell, they're not even getting the right spams. Mopo's down to 31, but the entries are just electrifying. Essential on 17 kills, even though Headtrick was headlining most of that first half. It's Essential that does get humbled after the fact. Davy G, just outgunned by the M4, but Solsol is there to trade. It's a 1-on-2 now present for what has been the star of Iberian Soul.
The thing about stars is they shine really bright, but really they're already dead. It's just how long it takes to transmit that light over. Solsol will be exactly the same, Michael.
He had to try.
Of course. You're down 4-11. You're not going to make it too far by saving in that situation. Iberian Soul would have had a buy over here regardless, but this is starting to look a lot like Mirage. And I know how that one ended. Bait were always the favorites, but now it looks like Kemsizo wants to put them down. The perfect spray transfer. They don't have the bomb with them. They didn't expect to need it so fast. But with Mopos being threatened by grenades, bullets whizzing by him, Nipple right next to him, he'll be shutting him down, sure, but it'll still be the A site that's already been conquered.
It's a very brave decision there from Nipple, but after his teammate just hit a spray transfer, they got triple entries in mid. You know, just could have been the knockout punch if he caught Mopos off guard. Instead, still 2-on-3, a chance to come back into this round. Mopos has been loud about his routing in through to elbow and flanking A main, but maybe not loud enough. I'm not sure Alex would have actually heard this, and yeah, the fact that they don't have kits, they will need to get a move on.
Mopos will have himself a smoke, but that's really not too helpful of a Headtrick's already got the flank onto his teammates. Mopos' position is likely going to be known, triangulated now, and now even heard for sure. 23 HP is all they've got, even team flashes, because why the hell not?
Nipple already left the server.
I mean, he knows what's coming over. It's going to be 13 for Bait, and they're going to be, well, putting it all away. 2-1, Bait will forget all about Nuke and shut things down as they were meant to with that kind of ranking lead.
Yeah, they brutalized them on Mirage and Ancient. Understandable why these are pretty much staples within